cause I'm doing me. Still shine with no jewelry. I would rather have the unity. It's gonna be you if it's you and me. No tears in my mama eyes. Got a team full of ride or dies. Hail Mary, nigga, rockabye. Rockabye, all eyes on me. Made it out the hood, I'm so grateful. Never know what talent gon' take it. Jealous niggas never made a breakthrough. That's why they watch it so hateful. All eyes on me. They say the top is so lonely.
What's going on, y'all? This is my expert opinion show, the greatest show in the world. Hit that like, hit that share, let everybody know you in here. Don't cost you no paper unless you's a motherfucker. Hater.
And don't be one of those.
I couldn't get hate in there because I was replicating the beat.
I know exactly.
The loving it joint that y'all did.
Thank you, man.
With Ninth Wonder. So I had to really focus in on it. I couldn't throw hate in there. I'm sorry.
Listen, haters don't belong everywhere.
That's a fact. Sometimes it's just love.
Sometimes
He threw them
it's
snares
all
in there though. That's because he threw the snares.
It was the sample. It was the sample.
Yeah,
The sample in there.
I
Sometimes all you need is love. Speaking of love, one time for Math Hoffa, feel better, bro. We understand you're under a lot of pressure. Sit your ass down, get some ginseng, get some ginger. Stay still. Stop running around, you fucking doing it to yourself. Sit your ass down, be still, get better. Thank you very much. With that being said, one time for my brother Substantial, Adultish. This shit is fire. The hoodie god has spoken. This shit is fire. That's all I wanted to say. One time for Substantial.
Yes.
Champ.
What's good, my brother?
How you holding, King?
Easy like a Sunday morning, cooler than the other side of the pillow.
That's my
Everything
name.
is well. Everything's great. Happy to be home, to be free, not around fuck people. Glad to be around some great, amazing legend. Staff and everything. Make sure for all your incarcerated loved ones, y'all go to YKTVmagazine.com.
You know
to
the
get
vibes.
the newest magazines with West Side Gun on the front, and you know we got the ladies and all that sprinkled in there. So make sure y'all hit that website and get your incarcerated people the things they need for their entertainment.
Yes.
Gat.
We here. Yo, the Brooklyn Way episode 12, season 3 out right now. Finale, my expert opinion to be in the finale.
Make some noise for that. Make some noise for that.
New single. Thank you. We back outside. New single dropping this week with my guy Redman, featuring Redman.
Make some noise for that.
Saying?
Make some noise for
My
that.
guy Redman, we dropping some shit on y'all niggas. Big Aries. We back outside, man. Big Brooklyn.
I don't think you ever go inside.
I do.
Unless
I
it's
don't
the
know if
ladies.
you know what inside looks like.
I really don't.
I think somebody just brings your clothes to you. You just get dressed wherever you can. I don't think you have it inside.
I don't.
Okay, as long as we have that
I mean, I
established.
don't.
Chas, how you feeling?
I'm good today. I'm not Mike, but I do want to openly say thank you to all you three guys
Yes,
for
we have.
supporting me this weekend.
Yes.
To my grandmother.
R.I.P.
Oh,
Grandma.
man.
Peace,
sorry,
Grandma.
condolences.
Rest in peace.
Thank you. So thank you, my brothers, for.
We love you, sis.
Yes.
Rest in peace, new angel alert. Chastity's grandmoms. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Life well lived. We were at the funeral. We were at the repast. We saw all those generations of people that love you and couldn't wait to honor you and had nothing but great things to say about you. And we have to thank you personally here at My Expert Opinion because thanks to you, we got her.
Exactly.
And the food was fire.
Good.
Thank you.
That ZD was different.
Word.
I'm gonna be quiet on that. That's always ZD, but I'm gonna be quiet. Gang, salute to the crew.
Lou.
I'm talking to you two.
Yes.
And now, without any further ado, any further hee-haw, guffaw, I'd just like to introduce you guys to, you know, there's this thing of unsung heroes. We have a lot of that. We also have people who influence the game so deeply that by the time it gets back around to the people who are using it, they don't even know where they got it from. A lot of your favorites have these fellas' DNA all in their blueprint. And thanks to us at My Expert Opinion, you're about to meet the forefathers of some of your favorites. We got little brother in the building.
Thank you, thank you. Thank
Even though
y'all
they
so
grown
much,
ass
man.
men.
Yeah, man, we always talking about kale salad and shit, man.
On purpose.
Listen, hey, look, we got a phone on this thing, bro. Before I turn 45 on the 28th.
I turned 44 in February.
Oh shit! No. One time.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Got to move different.
Grown. It is different out here being grown in a game where people in a genre of music where nobody wanted to see it grow, or we never pictured it. Nobody pictured being
that part
in their 40s, still doing the things that you were doing back then. Well,
Yeah.
the level is higher, but the fans are still the same. You still have the. I went to the Little Brother show over at Brooklyn Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
The illest line was, "Our fans got 401ks. They show up, they hear some dope rap, they go to fuck home, they send the babysitter home.
Yeah.
This is our fan base."
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was something that, we had to, when we came back out, we put out our album, Made a Little Watch, in 2019. And that was our first album it was the first album in like 10 years.
Since 2010.
2010, yeah. And so we were coming back into the marketplace, and the thing that we saw was that a lot of the promoters, they were still kind of stuck in 2005. Like they were still trying to, have us, okay, so we want to have, 3 opening acts. We was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no, we're not going on stage at 11:30. Nigga, our fans got to go to work. You know what I mean? And so, so it was just one of those things where we just saw, like you said, people didn't understand that in hip hop, your audience, they will grow with you, but you just have to meet them where they are. You know what I'm saying? So when we went out and did our shows, we was just like, we had our policy. We like, look, we running on time. You know what I'm saying? Doors is at 7. You know what I'm saying? DJ going to 8, 9:30, we on stage. You know what I'm saying? 11 o'clock, it's a wrap.
So
You know what I mean?
11:30 midnight, you back home in your bed.
Yeah.
you don't hear artists say that.
Ever.
Yeah, that punctuality, those rules, you never hear that.
Nah, man. That was
That was important.
Yeah.
That was important for us. I mean, because it ain't even just about the audience. It's about us too, man. We got force, man. Force.
phone that thing, cuz.
Like, I ain't trying to be going on. When I'm at home, I ain't out after 12, man.
Right.
Like, it has to be very special for me to be outside after 12. I'm not gonna do that when I'm working either.
Right, right.
So, just for us, for our fans, we just want to make sure that we in this together. Like, it's 20 years.
Legit.
A lot of these fans been here for 20 years.
Right.
So if they been here for 20 years,
They got 20-year lives. They
Like,
got
listen.
kids. They got, like
Jobs,
even
all that.
jobs. Like even, the cost of like a concert ticket. We were even, me and Pooh would have conversations with like, promoters, just, doing our shows. And it's just like, dude, the price of a ticket is not just the ticket. These people, they got a part. They probably had to hire a babysitter. You know what I'm saying?
they gonna go get dinner.
They'll get dinner. Yeah, like it's a night.
It's a budget. You
It's
got
a budget.
to
You got a budget for that.
It's the
Absolutely.
entertainment budget.
Yeah, and if you're, especially if you married or you got, a lady or you have a person. Our thing was we always wanted our shows to be like a date night show. Like you can bring your lady to a Little Brother show and she can have just as much fun as all the guys. Like it's just a great experience. And man, that's just something that I think just that consideration for our fans and like being tapped in and just really thinking, I was like, okay, well, I wouldn't want to go no show that started at 11. I don't think they would either. I think that's played a big role in our longevity.
All right, ladies, leave it in the comments. Is this acceptable for a date night? We know you beefing with Applebee's, so I want to know if a Little Brother show is cool to do.
Oh my Cheesecake Factory,
I know Applebee's, Cheesecake Factory,
BBQs, Starbucks, they beefing with everything.
I just need to know if a Little Brother show is acceptable. It sounds like a great night to me, but leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Can we bring you to a Little Brother show? Is that cool? We still get some ass after we get out of there early enough. Is that?
Yeah, because you walk out feeling good. Like we want people like to walk out of our show like feeling, rejuvenated and like feeling inspired.
Well, your music takes people back to a time when it was like at those years, you had yourselves, you had Slum Village,
Yes,
you had
indeed.
Kanye, you had Common,
Early
you had
Kanye.
Mos Def, Talib, you had all these people that there was an uprising happening at that time in hip hop that wasn't seen since Tribe and the Aquarians and in the early 90s. So it's nostalgic. I was on my way here listening to the Minstrel.
Minstrel Show, thank you,
and
bro.
I'm like, this reminds me of 05. I remember all the records that came out that year based off of that. So going to a concert is like, I remember that time. I was in college, or I was doing this and I was doing that. You know what I mean? So
you know what's funny though? The shows don't feel that way. The shows don't feel nostalgic. The shows just.
You saying the shows in general or theirs?
No, their show right now does not. It doesn't. We're gonna take y'all back. There's not a lot of that kind of talk.
That's one thing me and Tay was very intentional about. We understand nostalgia. We do not play into nostalgia.
You don't live there.
We don't live there. We don't visit there. We don't. We going forward, and we're gonna take you forward with us, and it's gonna be a hell of a ride. Not saying you can't be nostalgic when you hear certain things, because we all do it. We hear a record, we like, oh shit, I know where I was when that happened. But
that's not the way as an artist. Like,
no,
I don't think that's
we go.
a good
We
way.
go forward. We don't live looking in the rearview mirror, and we was intentional about that. Making music and doing the shows. Everything we do, actually.
So how easy was the process in shaking that off? Like, because artists who've come out years prior, and then they create new projects, and now they're here in the present. You have fans that's still stuck in that mindset. So how do you shake that?
You gotta leave them where they at.
Everybody can't go.
Yeah,
Shit.
Nah, straight up.
Like, everybody can't go. Like, and I mean, when you start, I was always told when you start listening to fans, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
but isn't the consumer always right? Isn't that like a sales model?
I mean, maybe for other people, not for us.
In what business?
Not in hip-hop,
It wasn't right.
Hip-hop.
It's like I think about like the quote Henry Ford said, you know, if I would have asked the consumer what they wanted, they would have told me they wanted a faster horse. You feel me?
Right.
Like,
it's about evolving.
Thank you.
I got you.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know, people, they don't know what they want until they see it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, like, you know, I just want a faster horse, but yo, this Model T, this shit fly, nigga. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
6 horses.
Right. So, you know, so sometimes you have to be that. But for, you know, the people who don't get it, you just kind of gotta, it's like, all right, well, it's not a lose-lose, because it's like, y'all still got the old records, y'all just listen to them.
Thank y'all for, you know, the part of the ride y'all was on, and this section of the ride ain't for y'all.
Right.
And
You
it's
get
all,
off at
it's
the
all
next
love.
stop.
There it is.
It's still all love with me.
So how do you make? That's the wrong word to use. I don't want to say how do you make sense, but like when you hear an artist, we were talking before the camera started.
Yeah.
You hear somebody like Andre 3000 talking about rapping in his 40s, and what does he have to tell people at 40 whatever? I think he said 48.
48.
What does he have to tell people at 48? Rap about a call it out. Like he's actively. We've said before here that he's actively in his own way. I feel. I've said straight up. I think he's in his own way. I think he's in his own head.
Was that you speaking as a fan?
No,
Not
that's
being
me.
in
That's me
Andre's
speaking.
position.
That's me speaking. I'm definitely not speaking from his POV, but I'm not speaking as a fan. I'm speaking as a cultural advocate, like a creative advocate. I don't think artists ever play out, especially not somebody with that level of creativity.
Yeah.
There's something that he can say. There was a time when Andre 3000 said, "The South got something to say."
Right.
That hasn't changed. The South still has something to say. I believe he still has something to say. They're from the South. They still got something to say.
But that's our journey. I mean, that's like, you know, I read that, we were talking off camera, but yeah, man, I read, you know, that quote that Andre said, and I understand exactly where he's coming from. Like, I completely get it, because it's different. I think it's different as an MC. Like, you know, you can be a 48-year-old producer.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? You be a 48-year-old drummer. I mean, I look at, you know, Questlove, Amir, you know what I mean?
Nobody cares.
He's still, you know, in his 50s, still just killing shit. You know what I mean?
Actor, poet.
Right. But as an MC, there's that, it's kind of a stigma where, you know, you get older and you're comparing yourself against past work. And it can be hard to find, okay, I did all these things, but where am I now? And I get it. I mean, I didn't do my first solo album until 2011. And then I didn't make my next one until 2018, just because I had to stop and realize, like, all right, so much of my earlier work was built on, like, was driven by, like, struggle and driven by kind of, like, survival mode. And now it's, you know, however, you know, years later, and I'm like, man, I'm not that person anymore. Like, you ain't broke no more, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? And if you're used to creating from that space and you don't know how to access that other part of your creativity to get it open, it can feel like, damn, 48 is the end of it. And, you know, for me, one of the things that helped me kind of get through that stigma was that you can't think of yourself as a 44, I'm 44. You can't think of yourself, if you think of yourself as a 44-year-old rapper, you're gonna be stuck. You gotta think of yourself as a 44-year-old writer. You know what I mean? You just, it's like, it's not just rapping, you know, I'm a storyteller. And as long as you feel like you have a compelling story to tell, then there's always gonna be an audience for it. Like I remember his quote, he was saying, man, what I'm gonna do, rap about a colonoscopy? I would absolutely listen to that. You know what I mean? Like, that would be fascinating to me. But if it ain't fascinating to him, then, you know, it's not gonna. So I think everyone just has their own walk in this. They have their own journey in it. And you just kind of gotta, you know, just let people find their way. You know what I mean? So I get it.
I'm the big boy of this situation. I keep getting shots off. I didn't have that problem. I mean, because like it's about individual journey. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, like I didn't have people hailing me as one of the greats and all that, like individually. Like I didn't get that. So for me, it was a constant. Oh, I'm gonna show you niggas then. I'm gonna show you niggas then. I'm gonna show you niggas then. Oh, you still don't believe? I'm gonna show you again. So that was my thing. So
you got some artists that catch their breaks at 40.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
You got
too.
some artists that really catch their breaks at 40. They've been doing it their whole life. 40 years old, 45, and they popping now. You like, damn.
Bro, to that. Made a Little Watch in 2019. I was 39. I put out my last solo record in 2022. I was 42. Niggas say that's the best work of my career.
That's crazy.
The best work of my career.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah, it's different. It's not something that, you know, I think with hip hop, or just particularly, you know, with MCing, it's not a physical game, right? It's not like, all right, nigga, my knees getting bad. You know what I mean? Like you know, your knees get bad. It's like you just ain't going up against these 25-year-olds every night. They gon', you know what I mean? It's nothing.
They gonna smoke.
They smoking your ass. You know what I mean? They gonna pack you up real fast. But you know what I mean? But in hip hop, you know, as a writer, you know what I mean? Your brain, you know, you get sharper. You know what I mean? I remember reading an interview with Martin Scorsese. He was he was promoting his new movie, The Killers of the Flower Moon joint. And he said, you know, I'm 80, he's 80, God, 84, 5. He's in his 80s. Yeah, he's like in his 80s now. And he said, you know, I finally now, I understand what cinema can be. I understand the power of it, but it's too late. This is a nigga that made Goodfellas, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Mad classic.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and this is him saying, like, you know, after a 60-year career, I'm just now understanding the power of what this medium can be. And I think that just speaks to just the life of an artist. You know, as the older you get, I think there's just a curiosity about yourself that doesn't exist in your 20s and 30s. I think, you know, your 20s is, you know, it's just all piss and vinegar. It's just, I'll huff, I puff, I blow your house down. Your 30s is, I'll huff, I puff, I blow your house down, but I'm going to find a smarter way to do it. Finally, when you get to your 40s, it's like, why the fuck am I blowing down houses? It's like, there's another way to live my life. Like, this, you know what I mean? But you don't really, you start to examine that. And I think having that self-examination, that self-reflection, when you know how to tap into it, I think it makes for a stronger artist. And with hip hop still being a relatively young genre, you know what I mean? I think we're just at a point now where people are trying to figure that out, and we're just now getting. I think, you know, the 40, 50-year-old dudes in like 20, 30 years, like Ice Spice in 30 years, she's gonna be amazing. Like, she's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? Because there'll be a blueprint laid for that. You feel me?
Right.
You understand?
Okay,
like, there's a track.
because the blueprint is being laid.
It's being laid now.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
okay.
So, you know, it'll be there.
When
But
she gets married, when she has a kid, like all that stuff is right there for. I see what
you feel me? You know what I mean? So yeah, man.
But I also look at examples like, you know, Hov, for example,
100%.
right? As he evolved, he talked about the things that he's evolving through.
Absolutely.
Right? Sort of like you guys, right? There's certain things you're evolving through that you're like, I could talk about this. I can talk about that now. Andre 3000, I feel like he doesn't have that spirit in him, right? It's like I'd rather do things musically through production to convey my love for music in contrast to actually
That's
wording.
talking about. Nah,
You know what I'm saying?
That's really
Because he can talk about a lot of shit. There's mad shit going on.
Let me
Just pick a fucking topic and talk about it. You 16 bars every fucking 6 months.
You can talk about whatever, but like Tay said, you gotta look at yourself as a writer and not a rapper.
Right.
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
how about just an artist? How about a creative?
Yeah.
I mean, him putting out a flute album.
I think he'll get no more creative than that.
Which is why I'm not okay. 3 stacks.
For that 15th
Look at the
time,
camera.
nigga saying this.
Me with my A&R hat on. How about one song for every city you've traveled to with the flute?
Facts. And experience.
Every little story
From that.
you've had with the flute. How about 16 bars for every city
I
you
got off
traveled
the
to?
F train and they took a picture of me with the flute. It doesn't matter. We want to hear that shit. Damn, brother.
Hey, you can throw in a colonoscopy tail if you want to.
Hey, listen, I'm here for it.
Maybe it was hard to sit down on a couple of them sessions. You can kick that if you need to, but we just want to hear you do your thing. That's all I'm saying.
Facts.
And I don't think it's necessarily him not having. If you don't have the drive to do it, like that's cool. I think what bothers, and I want him to be as peaceful as possible. So he's given enough as far as I'm concerned. He can sit down and never do anything again. That's still
He's free. Like,
that's Andre
listen, you got
3000.
one of the biggest selling albums in hip hop.
Period. And one of the best done pieces of
Right,
work.
10 million copies. Like,
Whatever
if
you
I
wanna
sold
do.
10 million T-shirts, y'all niggas wouldn't see me again. You know what I mean?
So 10 million plates of fish. Nigga, y'all want to see me
You
again?
feel me? Like, come on.
I'm out the
I
game.
don't believe it.
You better
Because
believe
y'all got,
it.
y'all got a
don't
passion
believe
for this shit, man.
I don't believe you.
Listen, man.
Because
I was still create.
Jay made more money than that doing nothing having
would
to do with
create.
music, and we still got God
God did, yeah.
I would create, but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. That's the thing. Like I would really go into helping develop other artists and just be behind the scenes, and you wouldn't even know.
I don't believe you.
Please believe it.
It sounds great. It sounds
I'm
great.
trying to tell you,
Walking
brother.
off into the sunset.
It's
sounds
not
No,
great.
I'm gonna be real.
It's not
For
walking
him, no, for Pooh, like he really mean that. For me, I'm always.
Yeah, I mean
gonna
that
do it.
shit,
Nah,
bro.
Pooh, he mean that. He's
Like,
no
straight
capping
to
that
that.
rap, cause
Like, I don't want no more of y'all niggas. Leave me alone.
It's like we clown all the time. Like we both introverts, right? Like when the lights come on, nigga, we do our thing, but we both introverts. He's more introverted than I am, but we both don't like people, dog. We don't like people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I really don't like people. Like, come on, man. I don't like people, dog.
I don't understand that, though.
I found my tribe.
I think
I don't understand it. Like, how could you not like people, but the career that you have is based off of people?
Man, God bless me,
Purchasing
bro.
your-
yeah, it's
So you
a
say what up to your fans and be like, fuck out my face.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
yeah.
Don't do that.
You don't like people.
Nah.
What you mean by that?
I appreciate and I'm grateful for what they have provided me, right? Because obviously, it's a transaction as well. But more than anything, what I appreciate is when people tell me stories like, "Yo, verse you wrote about your brother. That's the same thing I'm going through. I was like, that's the shit for
That's
me.
something else.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's a different connection for me. Past that, bro, like it's like, yo, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nigga, I'm out.
Yeah, there's a difference. I think it's a difference between like there's a quote I read. It was saying like the struggle of an artist is the struggle between having something to say, like wanting to say something, and wanting to hide.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like you have that something in you that I want to express this, but once I put it out, once I get it out of me, I'm done with it.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm
You're
saying?
moving on to something
I'm
else.
moving on to something
gone.
else. But when you work as an artist, like once you put it out, that's day one. Because the crowd is just not hearing this for the first time. So now you got to deal with that. And so And you know, with the people thing, I think it's just you know, what me and Pooh had to kind of realize just in our as just us as just human beings, you know, we just enjoy the craft more than anything else. Just, you know, making the records, writing the songs, doing the shows, like just being present fully in the craft. But you know, the parties, the being out, the doing like
Promos, all that.
yeah, that's just not who we are. I mean, like sitting here having this conversation, you know what I mean? Like this was a platform that wasn't even available when we first was coming out. You know
There was no podcast, period.
None. You know what I mean?
Radio
That's
shows.
where we shine, baby. We shine on podcast.
Yeah, so like this right here, like we do this shit all day. We just chopping it up,
Yeah,
you know,
we
drinking.
barbershop.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's barbershop shit. But just, you know, it took a while for this kind of paradigm to be available for artists like us. And so now that it is, you know, we're able to flourish because we have platforms that meet us where we are.
Right. Like it's super tough when you're a person who just move forward. Cause like you said, when you put whatever you putting out, whatever the medium is, that's day one. And you've been living with it for however long. So if it's an album, it could be a year. You know, the movie, it's been 5 years. So you've been living with it for that long. So once you put it out, you like, oh, finally this shit is off my plate.
Right.
Okay, what I'm about to put on my plate next? You can't do that. Because people like, nah, nigga, this on our plate now. Like, what we
You just getting started.
and, for real. And it's hard for you to move forward because you have to keep going back to that thing that you've been living with for that amount of time. And it's just like, oh man, shit, here we go again. I never forget, I never understood it until I got really in the game. But when Andre 3000, I forgot where he was on and he was doing Hey Y'all. He was like, hey y'all for the millionth time, god damn it.
Yeah. I remember that.
I was like, yo, what the fuck? But I get it.
Right, now you get it.
Now I get it.
As an
It's
artist.
like, okay, I get it.
And that's the part of being just a professional part of it where, you know, you talk about that show, you know, that we did at Brooklyn Bowl. You know, our mentality is that every time we take the stage, that is somebody seeing you for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Every rhyme you do, every feature you do, it don't matter if, I mean, I had people hit me, yo, man, you remember, yo, I heard you on this record you did so and so and so. And it's like some shit we did on tour in Europe just after a show. We wasn't even thinking like, all right, cool. You killed that shit. You never know what's gonna be somebody's first exposure to you. You know what I mean? So every show, every verse, everything, like you gotta bring your A game on that shit. And that was something that we always kind of kept in mind just because, you know, that could be somebody's first time seeing you and you can't get that first impression back. Like that may be the only time you catch them. So you better come with your shit, you know, every time, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that really kept us alive, you know, throughout these years.
Well, it's part of the work that it's what you're obligated to do. It's what you signed up for.
100%.
Absolutely.
This is what
But
came
you don't,
with.
but you don't sign up for that at a time when, you know, you guys were just chasing the passion.
Nah, you signed up
The
for
art
You
of
always
music.
sign
when
up.
you put it out for public consumption, you sign up for
It
it.
doesn't
Yeah,
belong
but,
to you.
but
It
this
don't
is
belong-
what I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying at the inception, right? Back in college, right? When you guys were in school and you're creating and doing what you're doing, you're like, yo, I just love this shit.
Absolutely.
I love Mos Def. I love Questlove. I love
Yeah.
this person. I just want to be a part of the art form.
It's just a look. Nah, 100%.
And then after you sign your John Hancock pause, then you're like, you're like, oh shit, this what this shit come with?
that part.
But that's the part about being a professional, right?
Right.
Like I always tell people, like I'm a professional. Like I understand what I signed up for, so I'm not gonna, like I ain't gonna brush people off. Like, fuck out of here. I ain't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? That's unprofessional. You know what I mean? So you know what you signed up for, but that don't make it easy.
yeah, it's still work.
But nobody told you it was gonna be.
Right.
Nobody ever said that the thing you wanted was supposed to be easy. The life you want is on the other side of the work you refuse to do.
100%.
Or the
thing
risk,
you're avoiding.
the risk you refuse to take, or the situations that you are avoiding, the things that you don't want to deal with. But the life you want is directly on the other side of that. That's what every client I've ever had, I've always had to have that conversation. It's not, no one said you get to be comfortable. Success doesn't come to the comfortable. That's not how that works.
No, it doesn't.
You don't get to comfort your way into success. All the greatest successes have had stretches and are still having stretches where they are extraordinarily uncomfortable. Michael Jackson, Prince, the best you can name, they've had spaces where they were just not comfortable. It wasn't okay for them.
Nah, us making this doc.
Introverts.
Shit, yeah.
On
Very
stage after the show,
Right.
Like
shaking hands, kissing babies,
Bro,
taking pictures.
it's so crazy for me. Like every time I'm in New York, I relive this.
He's traumatized.
No, legit, guys. Not now, but I used to have terrible stage fright, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, terrible.
Man, you picked a fucked up job.
Fucked up job.
You picked the worst job
And
ever.
the job picked him.
And of course, our first headliner show in New York City, SOBs, I'm on stage. And my thing, like, it used to be if I look you in your eyes, and we make eye contact, it's a fucking wrap. Like I'm lost, right? And I looked at somebody and it was a wrap. Like we doing the song, we performed. I think that was like one of the first times.
It was one of the first times we ever did it.
So I'm shaky on remembering the lyrics and shit.
Damn.
And I looked somebody in the eyes and that turned into the worst fucking 40 seconds of my life, man. Like, and I've now that made me better. It made me better.
Right. But it was very uncomfortable.
But it was so fucking uncomfortable.
Right.
Shit, fat beats.
Fat Beats, yeah. We were
Yeah,
doing the
oh,
in-store
we
Fat
doing the
Beats.
in-store.
Fat Beats.
Yeah, man.
The New York brand.
Yeah, the New York one.
New
Yeah,
York
yeah.
nigga threw on the record. We don't never perform. I was like, holy shit, I don't know this. But they knew it.
Yeah.
Had me really looking crazy. But it was just I had to learn. I had to work through it. But once
What's your
again,
technique now?
I look at the top of people's heads.
That part. That's the that's the
the
trick.
same
That's the
shit.
one. Yeah, you gotta look at you catch them on the forehead. Like you
Well,
can't-
it's better when the light is shining on you can't see nobody.
that part.
It doesn't even matter. I'm looking at the top of your foot. I don't give a fuck if you right in front of me. I'm looking right past you. Like, and I have to do that because if we catch eye contact and you rapping to me, it's a rap. I just know how to recover.
Yeah.
I just know how to recover now. I can recover.
And we cover each other like on stage.
Yeah.
Like we'll cover each other. Like I mean, we know each other's
This
verses.
nigga machine, man. He know everything.
Nah, I had to spend so much time, like, because I was, mixing the records and like, so I listened to him way more than like he would listen to. You know what I mean? Because I'm listening to shit all the fucking time. So if he ever got off whatever, I would just like, all right, I would just. We have all kinds of little secret
Tricks
that we do to cover each other and to keep it smooth.
Did you call yourself the big boy of this situation?
Yeah.
That's what he said, yeah.
Did you?
When you talk about in comparison to Andre.
Because he wasn't talking about size. You really talking about.
That was
a major pause. That was wicked, bro.
Whoa.
Way
Way out of line.
We are. Cameron would be disgusted.
Yeah, we got company.
do you.
See how fast that happened? It took no time. I'm trying to help you. You want to bring the debauchery in, bro? That big boy line though, that caught me off guard. Explain that.
Nah, see, a lot of people look at Big Boy because Andre's phenomenal, right? We all know he's phenomenal, but they don't pay attention. Somebody actually, what's his name? DJ Styles, whatever. I think that's his name on Twitter. He was like, "Yo, I watched the doc. I went back and re-listened to y'all catalog from start to Made a Little Watch. Yo, we got to give Rapper Pooh his flowers, man.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing them wrong because when you standing next to somebody, considered one of the greats of our generation, nigga, it's what you supposed to do in that situation. Like you do you, but everybody's comparing me to him, just like everybody comparing Big Boy to Dre. You can't do that.
You got to listen to. You have to listen to them individually for what they bring. And for me, the thing with LB, the thing that I always loved and studying hip hop, there has to be dynamic. You know what I'm saying? You can't have two sledgehammers. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's just like, it's like, dude, and I keep going these quotes that have kind of informed me over the years. But I remember it was a quote from Gary Trudeau. He was the guy that wrote Doonesbury. It's like a political cartoon
Remember
for
that.
years, you know what I mean? And he said, if you write about Vietnam on Monday, you got to write about basketball on Tuesday. And what he was saying was like, listen, if you're going to be just so heavy, with something like Vietnam on Monday, Tuesday comes around, you got to take your foot off the neck of the audience and talk about something else, or else your original impact from talking about Vietnam is going to be lost. Because if it's just Vietnam, it's like, nigga.
Turns into white noise.
It turns into white noise. It's like, nigga, we get it, okay?
One track.
It's one track. And so for me and Pooh, I always like, you know, for us, I always looked at our songs, but particularly I think we really got it on just, you know, with
Made a Little
Watch. And also the last 2 records we did with Wish Me Well and Glory Glory, it really is a conversation. And it's just like, you know, I'm going to approach the track the way I approach it, but I know he's going to come a completely different way. And that was something that, again, the audience don't understand how the sausage is made. They just look at it, but it's like, dude, big pause.
See?
I gotta keep clear home. Hey. All right. Hey,
We don't know how it's. You gotta tighten up. You gotta tighten pause myself first.
It ain't as much fun now, is it?
I'm sorry. I'm not looking at any type of song.
Oh shit.
But nah, you know, you understand that. And so I think just a lot of times, fam, I mean, when I look at the classic duos that we grew up listening to, you know what I mean? I mean, you look at Tribe, you know, Fife is really animated. Tip is down here, you know, Mobb Deep, you know what I'm saying? Havoc and Prodigy, you know, God rest his soul. You know what I'm saying? You know, you just had just these great, you know, those dynamics. And those are the things that make
contrasting dynamic.
that part. You know what I mean? So now, man, that's, you know,
Okay.
that's the model.
I'm gonna take the humble hat off for a second. When did you realize that he was that he was one of them? That
When
he
I
was,
first met him.
Yeah, so let's go back now. Let's go back.
Wait, my nigga, when I met him, it was random. In the RA's dorm room, he come in there. Never met him before.
What school?
North Carolina Central,
Central,
home of the Eagles,
Eagle Pride,
like a motherfucker.
What year?
98.
98, yeah, it was 98.
98.
And he comes in. Y'all wrote this round for English class. Nigga was like, oh,
English
all right.
class.
English
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
English. And he spit that shit, and I was like, nigga, who's this? Who's this? Like, and it was just to be. I was 19. He was about to be 20.
That was 20, yeah.
Just the way he put stuff together at that age, like. And it's like, it's different when you seeing it on TV. Like, okay, Nas put out his first album. He was young and Biggie, all. When you staring at a nigga that you like, nigga, what? Like, it was different for me. Like, I had never been around somebody like that. So I knew on day one.
Had you been rapping prior?
I've been dipping in that. I was more a poet. I wrote poetry.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a writer. I'm a writer for real. Like, it's not, I wasn't writing raps when I was young. I wasn't just writing songs.
Yeah, he
like,
was doing poems.
I was doing
like,
poems,
yeah,
short stories, shit.
yeah.
Like, I'm a writer for real. So
How competitive was it? Like, was it even competitive when you guys were in college? Like, you know, you had other people that probably rap around y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Which I had battles and shit like
Oh,
that.
hell yeah, man. Nah, man. It was very competitive. So back at that time, you know, that was when, you know, because I came up in the battle circuit, you know what I mean? And battling, it was very different then versus what it is now. Like, battling now is, that shit is like, it's almost like theater. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is something. I just have so much respect, you know, for the brothers and the sisters that do, you know, the battle now, because back in our day when we was coming up, it literally was freestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would
Talking about when somebody got on.
right,
Shit like that,
immediate. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, you know, you would have 3 rounds. I remember we would do a thing we would do called Duel of the Iron Mics in Durham. And you would have rounds. And so it's like the first round is just, you know, you can just freestyle whatever. Then the second round, they would give you a topic. They give you a topic and they're like, all right, the topic is, you know, haircuts, right? It would just
Like
be just
wildin'
some
out.
crazy
Right.
off the wall. No, 100%. And you would have to diss the other dude
they
talking
haircut.
about haircuts, you know what I mean?
Right.
And staying on topic, and they would judge you by that. And so, you know, that was just something that was very, very off the cuff, just very, you know, just like, all right, we just kind of in the moment. Battling now, I'm like, nigga, y'all got to do goddamn research on niggas. Like, you know what I mean? You have to
way
memorize
different.
like a 7-minute fucking monologue. Like, nigga, that's theater training. You know what I'm saying? And so, so back then it was just very different, you know. And so, so for us coming up, you know, at that time, the battling aspect was the way that you kind of got your respect. So I would just do battles, and that was how I would pay my car note. Like you would have.
Oh, y'all would battle for bread.
Oh hell yeah. Like you would
What's the
have.
most you ever won?
The most I ever won, I think, man, this was, like, keep in mind, this is, 2000, 2001, whatever.
Right.
So I remember one battle I won $300. And nigga, that shit, like, my car note was, at that time, like $150 or some shit, you know what I mean? I'm like, shit, I can pay my car note, nigga. I got enough money, I can pay my light bill, I can do this.
Who want to battle again? Who want to battle next?
Listen, we do this shit every week.
Anybody ever gave you a run for your money?
Ah, man. So the first battle I did when we were in, it was in Durham. I battled, it was this kid, the two main people who were kind of the favorites, to win. It was this guy, Omatati, still my brother to this day. Omatati, he was like a little older than me. He was like one of the G's. He was older than me. And then it was this cat named Jay Gunn, who at the time was 16, and he was like a child prodigy. Like, this nigga was embarrassing grown men. Like, it was ugly, you know what I mean? Because it's like, because he had the kid thing working for him, so it's like he's young, but it wasn't just that. He could go. It was like, oh my God. And so the first battle that we did, it was me and my homie Omatati. We made it to the finals. I lost to Omatati, and then O made it to the finals, and he lost to Jay Gunn. So then in the next battle, he sat out. So then the next battle came on. I won. I beat Jay Gunn. And I never lost the battle after that. Like, I won like 2-3 more. But it kind of, to what we were talking about earlier off camera, with the battle MCs, my kind of turning point with it, I'll never forget this, man. I was doing a battle this is when they had the Source battle. The Source used to have battles, right. The Source used to have battles, all over. They would just set stuff up, whatever. So we were having a Source battle, and I remember the closest one to me was in Maryland. It was at Landover Mall. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, shit, all right, fuck it. I just gassed the car up. We drive it 4 hours to go to Landover. And I remember I did it, you know what I'm saying? Big Tigger was hosting, you know what I mean?
Right.
Back then, and I did my joint or whatever, and I didn't get picked to go to the next thing or whatever. I mean, it was like 100 niggas there. But, I wasn't the one, I didn't get picked. And I remember afterwards, I was feeling kind of just like, damn. And I saw Eric Parker from The Source.
Shout out EP.
Shout out to EP, man. Now, I would never, I ran into him like some years after and told him this story. I would never forget this as long as I live. I came up to him and I knew him from The Source. I knew his tag and everything. I'm like, yo, what's up? Respect, whatever. And I was like, yeah, man, I didn't get it. And he was just like, yo, man, don't worry about it. It's just a battle. That don't mean these niggas can make records. That shit freed me. That was it. I was like, damn. So from that point, that was the last battle I did. I never battled after that. That was like 2000. That was before my oldest son was born. So that was like 2000. So after that, I never battled, and that was when I focused specifically on just being a recording artist and figuring out what kind of records I wanted to make. And that was, shortly after that was when we locked in with LB.
Got you.
And now we have the Inception of Little Brother.
100%.
And you guys, how does
all of this connect? Like,
how do you get the deal? How did that happen?
The internet, man. Like, we was just making records, man. Like, we literally was making records and went through various iterations.
Well, before you go into that, how many members of Little Brother was it, and how did all of you guys? You know how y'all two met?
Yeah.
Who else was a part?
It was three. It was three of us. And it was me, Pooh, and Knife.
Yeah,
Like
that was Little Brother.
Yeah.
Right.
But predating Little Brother, you had Gimme. No, you had the organization.
The organization, that was like a big crew.
That was a big crew. Then you had Gimme, which was me, Tay, and Sean Don.
Right.
And then we was just all by ourselves for a minute. And then Little Brother came after all of that. Like,
Who came up with the name Little Brother?
That was, I would say it was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
It was you.
It was, we were at the crib one day. We talk about this particular story. We tell it in our documentary. Made a little watch this out now. But nah, man, we were just writing down names, and the thought was, well, the way we went about it was we looked at all of our contemporaries, and it was just like, okay, we have to have a name that fits in with all of these people. You know what I mean? So if it's like, if you were having a concert, the thought was if you're having a concert and it's Black Star, Black Alicious, Common, The Roots, and Who, right? And we wrote down a couple names, and Little Brother was the one that made the most sense in the context of everyone else. And we really felt like we were the little brothers of all of the groups that came before us.
Predecessors.
You know, our predecessors, 100%. And so, you know, man, for us, it really was just a show of gratitude and just also a show of humility of just us understanding that, you know, we're from the South, but we understand the roots of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we done our homework. And we do our homework. You know what I mean?
got something to say.
100%. So
Shout out to 3 Stacks.
So all right. So there's this large group of you guys who are together. Everybody's making music. What was the mindset as far as like how are we gonna get this music out? Because y'all was just making it.
Gonna take it to the trunk of the car.
So y'all went the independent route and just started.
We were going. I mean, yes and yes.
right.
You know, we was like, we was gonna go to disc maker. We talked about this in the doc too. We was gonna go to disc makers, and he was gonna get a credit card. We was gonna print up CDs.
Yeah, at that
the
time,
posters.
I think like to do 1,000 CDs, it was something like, I think it might have been like $3,000 or something,
it was something
$4,000.
like that. You get posters with it. You know,
Yeah, you know
all
what I
that
mean?
shit they was giving you, and we was like, man, we just put them in this car and go around the city.
Because we was fresh out of college, and that was when, like, you know, remember that was like when they used to have. I think they stopped that shit now because it was fucking totally illegal and predatory. But when you would have the credit card companies on the yard.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
That's how I got my first credit card.
yeah, that's how I got mine too. And fuck that shit all the way up. But that was that. So I was like, shit, nigga, I just go to the yard and get a goddamn Discover card. But you know, that was the initial thought.
So that was the thought. And cat DJ Brainchild, he had a site, and we sent him some records to like, yo, check this out. Tell us what you think. You know, we see you on the boards or OK Player boards. We value your opinion, what you saying on.
What is the OK Player boards for people that don't know?
Black Twitter, before Black Twitter?
Legit.
Right.
Black OK Player was ground zero. I mean, everybody from Little Brother to Deezus of Deezus and Mero. Like, Deezus was an OK Player. You know what I mean? I remember reading posts from Deezus in like 2000, 2001, and just the stuff he would talk about, you could just see it. Then I'm like, yo, I don't know where you're gonna go. I don't know where your journey's gonna lead, but it's more for you. You got something.
This is the beginning.
This is the beginning. Like, dude, he was a fucking genius, man. Just hilarious as hell. But that was what OK Player was. It was pretty much just kind of this haven where, nerds would just fucking gather and talk about music. It wasn't a blog. It was like a website, a forum, like a message board. So kind of like how like SOHH used to have message boards. All hip hop
had it. QM5. There was a ton of
already. Spit Kicker. You know what I mean?
It
was social media before social media.
It predated social media,
and it was for non-commercial. A lot of underground artists would be there. So like-minded fans of people who were into the Roots, Tribe Called Quest, that whole sound, that whole aesthetic.
But you can't upload music on it. You couldn't upload music.
You could upload music, but it was kind of a thing because, again, this is before.
This was still, don't bootleg my shit there.
Yeah. So the game had shifted.
Yeah, this was still, I come find you and break your legs and shit. we were in that time. So, like, we didn't intend to put it up. Like, we sent it to DJ Brainchild to check it out, to get an unbiased opinion. You know, when you make a music with your peoples, everybody, oh, nigga, that shit fresh. That shit dope.
Like, nah, I need some other ears on this.
I need somebody who don't know me to tell me what they think. He uploaded it to his website, is how it ended up getting on OK Player. We came on New York, we was about to kill that dude, man. Like, I
legged all shit.
I was mad. Like, man, what the fuck you do that? But that
New York
ended up,
niggas was known for that. What?
but it ended up changing our life.
He was trying to help.
Yeah.
He was trying to
help.
shout out
And he
DJ
did.
Brainchild.
And he
Nah, he did. Nah,
He
shout out
did.
him
So-
and on Slop Funk Dust.
Yeah,
He put it up
Yep.
on his joint. But that was how it started. We just, was sending our people, and they spread it. They spread the word. And we ended up getting a call from ABB Records, who at the time they were an independent label based out of Oakland. They had some success with Dilated Peoples, but they mainly did 12 inches. And we had our album damn near done. The listening was damn near done when they reached out. And we was just like, look, man, we got a record, let's go. And so we ended up signing that deal with them, and that was the first record deal we signed. And looking
How
back,
bad was that contract?
That was the first music business
Talk about
lesson.
that. Talk about that business side of it. How
Yo,
bad was
I'm gonna
that
be real.
contract?
Listen, man. Here's the thing, right? It's not, a contract is a contract, but it's just about, are you gonna honor it?
Whatever
right?
the terms are.
Whatever the terms are. If I sign it, if we have a deal that says, hey, for every record you sell, you get $1. If I sell 2,000 records and you send me a check for $2,000, I have nothing to say. Because you honored the terms of that deal. In particular with ABB, I mean, our deal was, it was standard. And anytime you hear the word standard,
albums.
yeah, that's what they came with
started
first.
at 7.
Right.
It started at 7.
Right.
It was like, hell no. Nah. But the thing with, again, like they just, I'm what, 22, 3?
22?
Yeah,
22.
something like that. We in our 20s. So at that time, we were just putting out music. We were just recording day in, day out, boom. So even seeing 7 albums, it's like, shit, nigga, we got 3 albums on the hard drive right now. Like, you know what I mean? But you don't think how they get you is you don't understand is like, it's not the number of albums, it's the number of years. Like that 7 album deal
Could take you fucking 15,
Forever.
16, 20
forever.
years.
You might not never get out of that shit.
Perpetuity to the universe.
Well, no, 'cause
Listen,
they
beyond.
They have,
And beyond. That was a Buzz Lightyear shit.
no, they have timestamps on how long you can't before you can put the
Before
next
you can
one
put the
out.
new one
Yeah,
out.
There's a time difference on that.
So it's 7, but we ended up getting
With
it
3.
a minute everything. We ended up going for 3. So it was like a 3 album deal, including the listening, which was the one we came with. So we was like, all right, we can do that. That seems reasonable. But yeah, that first deal, yeah. I mean, the deal itself was whatever. But even had it been honored, we wouldn't have had a problem. But more so than the deal itself, it was the fact that the label, they didn't honor it. They didn't account to us. They didn't pay us. Like it was nothing.
Did you have a lawyer look over it?
We did in the
Y'all did
beginning.
it for yourself.
But this is the thing. This is what I was about to get into. This is the thing about contracts, right?
Hey, man, talk at me, son.
Because I done dealt with them for over 20 years now. You have to, as the artist or whoever is the person that's about to do the deal, whatever deal it is, you have to understand what it is you want, and you have to understand what it is that you're entering into before you can understand what you trying to negotiate for. Because if you have no understanding of any of that, then a lot of shit look good to you that's not actually good.
Right.
So for us, we had a lawyer look over it, but we didn't understand what we wanted. We didn't understand what signing the deal we signed meant fully. And that was the problem. It's like, if we understood then, okay, this means if you do this, this means this. These are what can happen later because of this deal. All those things we didn't understand.
Man. And we were 22. So
22.
I tell artists all the time, man, like there's no greater hell than being contractually bound before you know who you are. Like, dog, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing that can prepare you for, just even the point of when we got that deal, we had lawyers looking at it, but there's nothing I tell young artists just because we don't want them to make some of the same mistakes that we made. We just try to give them some game.
Sometimes the lawyers be working with the label.
100%. I mean,
this wasn't the case.
That wasn't the case for us. But yeah, and even with your lawyer, it's like, listen, it doesn't matter who your lawyer is. I've spoken about this before, but like, dude, it doesn't matter how great your lawyer is. It doesn't matter if you don't have leverage, right? So, and what that means is like, listen, if I'm your lawyer and I'm representing you in a deal, you know what I'm saying, and you bring the deal to me, I look at it and I'm just like, yo, bro, this shit look a little janky. I mean, you got a $40,000 advance, but like this shit that they taking from you, homie, I don't really think. If you're in a desperate position, right? If you like, look, nigga, my baby mama on my back, I can't afford it. All you see is 40 grand. That's it. So if at that point, if you're the artist, if you're willing to take that deal as your lawyer, nigga, there ain't shit else I can do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's how a lot of times get caught up. And I think that's why so many of the artists in the game, they purposely sign you while you're young because you don't have that leverage to go against. Like, you know, they don't want old niggas in the game because we know better.
Right.
You know?
That's why he's here.
They like, nah, like
know
we
better.
ain't going for that shit. You know what I mean?
Mechanism
Grades
days.
that you earned. So yeah, man. So at the time, yeah, we looked at the deal. We was like, all right, and we signed
It's like,
it.
fuck it. They putting our record out. Like,
Yeah.
and then after we was like, God damn.
We talk all the time in here about the age gap. This is why it's relevant. This is why you can't let them push your OGs away from you. This is why you can't let them think that
Nigga,
somebody who's
listen.
grown and older than you is no longer relevant. They're trying to keep you separated from the information.
From the
people
information.
who know.
Nigga, listen.
These guys know what a bad contract is a mile away, and they can help you gain the kind of leverage you'll need to better negotiate. A contract's not evil. It's just a piece of paper. But if you don't have the leverage, you don't have the leverage, and that's all there is to
That's
it.
all
They
it's gonna
can
be.
gain you. They can show you how to gain leverage so you negotiate better. Listen to your OGs when they talk. They
Yeah, we didn't have them. Like, we
trying
didn't
to
have
learn
them.
you something.
We
Because
did not have
it's not
'em.
just information, it's context. Because you can get information now freely,
Yeah.
but you got to have context
Right.
for that information, or you're gonna be out here making a lot of dumbass mistakes.
What about like classmates and people that like y'all was around in school that may have been taking that shit up in school?
Man, it didn't. Yeah, so at that time,
we
so-
was taking the class?
Yeah, we was taking the class. Nah, legit.
One of y'all was into like y'all got to do scholarship in biology. Who was that?
That was him.
That was
Well,
him.
he was. Yeah, you had.
It was in biology. I did not major in
Yeah.
biology. I just got the free money. You know what I'm saying? I was there for
I
the
got
free
He got
money.
the degree.
got you.
Yeah, nah, at that time, I mean, because you have to think about it, like, you know, this is North Carolina. This is Durham, North Carolina. You know what I mean? So we were coming out of a place where had musical history, but in terms of, you know, real
Label
industry,
experience, the
label
industry.
experience, it just wasn't that. You know what I mean? So
And you got to know, they don't write that shit in books.
Nah,
like
they don't.
navigating
Nah.
the industry, that's not written in an industry that changes every couple of years.
yeah, and this is, and to that point, man, like, you know, so it changed every years. This is post 9/11. This is post Napster.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So the industry had just
It was shifting.
it was shifting, and nobody knew what it
going
was.
digital.
Yeah, it was going digital, and they didn't. You know, no one was really there to help us navigate those changes because they didn't understand. It was new to them as well. So we were kind of, you know, me and Pooh, we compare ourselves, we call ourselves, we was the lead blockers. You know what I mean? Like, we was the ones that ran damn straight into the goddamn linebacker. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? To make that way so the running back could get to the end zone. But at that time, yeah, I don't really think there was anyone that could help us navigate that because the game was just changing so rapidly. And we just kind of had to figure that shit out.
If you think about Carmelo Anthony and the amazing scorer that he was, and then all of a sudden the whole industry, the whole game shifts. The way the game is played shifts around him. And now one-on-one scorers aren't seen as valuable as team ball.
Right.
Now it's a whole different thing. And now it's like you look at him, and you'll have some people who fix their mouths to call him obsolete. But the game changed around him. His skill set
His skill
didn't
set
go
is still
away.
the same. Yeah.
He's still exactly the animal he was, but all of a sudden the way to win became this way.
Yeah.
And his game wasn't as effective in winning this way. That's them.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was why for us, like, you know, we kind of figured out, you know, independence
Shout
was
out
the
to
best
Melo.
way for our game. You know what I mean? For us. It really was, you know, we signed to Atlantic in 2000. I think we signed in 04.
Signed in
Yeah.
04.
We signed in 04. And, you know, man, it was an education. It really was an education. It really was kind of the moment of having that dream crushed, for lack of a better word. Not in a negative way, but just because, again, you know, this is 2002. You know, so at that time, a major label, that was the brass ring. It was just, you feel me?
Yup. Stop. We're going to a 5-minute break and we're going to come back.
Oh, for sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah, go to break. Go to break.
On ourselves.
It's
like,
internalized.
internalized.
We've
Start learning.
internalized it.
Yeah.
No, but that's why it's perpetuated by the audience.
Right.
But they don't even know why they're saying it or the amount of damage it can do when you keep up with that narrative. You keep that narrative going.
Because then it's like they use that to the industry use that, like, see?
Yeah, we told you.
We told y'all,
Meanwhile,
the
they
audience is saying, right.
Hey, make sure you tell them motherfuckers. Right. Tell them
It's a
they're too old.
feedback
Is
loop.
that equivalent to when Nas said hip hop is dead?
No, he was talking about when. Okay, my specific interpretation.
Are we rolling again? We back up?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
we
we back
okay, we
up.
back up.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
My specific interpretation of Nas saying hip hop was dead was basically like the way that I knew it to be and the way to be successful at it. You are eliminating those. You are looking to actively eliminate those things from the genre. You no longer have to be a skilled lyricist. You no longer have to be making like a song that really says something. It can be catchy with no substance.
You ain't even gotta love this shit.
You can literally disrespect it and say, I'm using this rap shit, which is like the bane. That shit is one of my pet peeves. When somebody tells me I'm using this rap shit, well, they got me doing this rap shit. That I've never heard any other art form or creative practicing that art form refer to it as shit. Nobody else disrespects it like that. I'm doing this painting shit. Nobody says that.
Right.
I'm doing this chef
I'm doing this
shit.
architecture shit.
No creative says that.
Yeah, I
And
got
really-
this fucking T-square, nigga. Yeah, whatever.
Literally, the only ones who will tell you that my restaurant looks super nice so the food can be shit. Because the restaurant is dope. I can make food, I can make spoiled food for you. But because it looks so great in here, and because it smells nice in here, and because I got the lighting the way I want it, and the tables look fucking fire, fuck everything else. The food can be shit. We're the only ones who do that. We're the only ones who allow somebody to get away with that. Whenever any other genre is tested that way,
They check that
they
shit.
all stand up and get right in front of
Yeah.
it. You can't
Comedy is like that.
comedy,
Comedy is like that.
Rock
Them niggas
music,
do not play.
Yeah.
Like they yeah.
jazz, they'll throw you off stage. They'll literally stop everything. This motherfucker can't play. Get him the fuck out of here. And they don't hide behind, oh, you hating. No, nigga, you suck.
You're not
You're
good.
terrible.
Yeah.
Or you're not good enough.
Oh
Yeah, man.
comedians. Oh my god,
Comedians
they
are brutal.
Pop, bang, bang. That nigga was hilarious.
Yeah, but it lets you not be funny. You be on stage. The dudes from the back will be from the side of the stage will be screaming on you.
Right.
Nope. That ain't it. Let me know when it's funny. Like, hey, we're the only genre, we're the only creative space that allows people to actively flourish by at the same time telling you they don't care about the music they're making. They'll tell you that to your face. And you'll still support it saying, well, I can't hate, he's getting his money. And meanwhile, we have people who really give a fuck about what they're doing and really want to sound good. And we
Push it to the wayside.
escort them out the
True
paint.
scammer culture.
Say that again.
True scammer culture. Getting his money though.
So I can't hate on them. That's why anytime you say that shit, oh, you can't hate. I can't.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
definitely
yeah.
can't. That shit disgusts me. That whole concept disgusts the shit out of me.
So going back to y'all brothers, as far as how did y'all even get to Atlantic Records for a deal? What was that process?
That wasn't a destination.
Let's talk about it.
And before I get it, shout out to Julie Greenwald, Mike Kaiser, Craig
Shout out
Coleman,
Mike Kaiser, yeah.
Deani. Like
Yeah,
shout out to
Latrice
Burnett,
Yeah.
James Lopez. Shout out to everybody we work with at Atlantic. Man, they was great to us.
Okay.
You
I
know,
don't really hear that.
bro, listen. We came up with an album called The Minstrel Show that was 60% done before we signed that deal. We put that album out what we completed is what you heard.
No changes.
No
nothing.
changes. They cleared every sample. We ran with the idea and they was like, all right, shit, then what y'all want to do? Let's do it. Nothing but love.
But how did y'all get there?
So how we got there was labels started calling.
After
After the listening.
After the listening. Our first album.
First
it came
album.
out on ABB.
okay.
Came out independently.
They started calling. So we met Tom Wally out in LA.
Warner, yeah.
We met with what's his name? Mike Karen had called. We didn't meet with him, but he had called. We met with Chris Lighty over at Jive.
That was really where we wanted
That's
to go.
where we wanted to go.
We wanted to do
Rest in
Chris
peace, Chris Lighty.
It
Rest
was
in
our
peace.
decision.
Yeah.
We
So-
were signed to ABB Records
And they decided who they were going to sell the contract
Yeah,
to.
they decided, yeah.
because Chris Lighty and Jive was like, we want to reissue the listening, which means now Jive owns it.
They didn't want to let it go.
Benny B from ABB was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
This is mine.
And the thing was, Jive, you know, sitting with Chris Lighty, he understood hip hop. You know what I mean? You know, I remember, I'll never forget just being in that meeting, and you know, this is what, 2002, 3, 4.
That's when Violator was on fire.
Right. This is Violate 50. Like, I mean, it's crazy.
Busta.
You know what I mean? All of that.
Deep, LL.
Yeah. You know,
They was putting out the Violator compilation.
The Violator compilation.
Yeah, they had a
Q-tip.
Shark Tank over there.
Yeah, man. So we was sitting in there with the meeting. It was like us, our manager at the time, Big Doe, Chris Lighty, Peter Thea, and DJ Wayne Williams, who was at Jive at the time. And you know, we were just sitting there, man, and I'll never forget talking to Chris, and like he was talking about 50. And he was saying, you know, man, my whole thing with 50 was that I wanted people to be like, get ready to root for the bad guy. That was my whole plan. Get ready to root for the bad guy. And I was like, yeah, it's like the Mel Gibson movie Payback. And he was like, I like this guy. I like this guy. Like, I remember him saying, he was like, yo, I like this guy. I like this guy. And, you know, he just was talking about that. And, you know, and I'm just sitting there, you know, like I'm fucking rap nerd supreme, right? So the record deal, nigga, who gives a fuck? Violator, nigga, Tribe. I want, you know, that's the type of time I'm on. You know, I'm like, nigga, what's Chris Lighty if he was such a baby? Like, I want to know, you know, I want to talk that shit. But he was talking about his time at Def Jam, and I never get this. He was like, yeah, man, he said, you know, he said after the Mr. Smith album, the LL album, Mr. Smith, that was like his comeback. That kind of put LL back. He said, man, after Mr. Smith, he said, bro, I was the prince of Def Jam. He said, I was the prince of Def Jam. I could do whatever I wanted. He said, so the next record I came with, it was this group called Crew. And I'm like, nigga, Crew, yes, the Dirty 30. Yeah, Pronto, what? I'm like, nigga, yeah, I love that album. He was like, yo, I loved it too. He said, but I learned that just because you love something, that don't mean it's gonna sell.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, but I think having somebody in the game like that just, you know, had a love for the music and for the culture, but also just had a very clear-eyed sense of the business.
And a good ear.
You know, that was rare. So we wanted to go with Jive. We wanted to fuck with
We were
Chris
all
Lighty.
in, like, this it.
Yeah, like he talking our shit. Like he gets us.
Then he said, this ain't it for me. I'm going over here because Atlantic let him keep vinyl rights. They let him keep the listening. They just did a whole bunch of shit.
They did a better deal.
They did a better deal
for him.
For him. So that's where we ended up at. And
so it went from, as far as meetings are concerned, it went from Violator and Jive to straight to Atlantic? Or you was other labels?
We never met with nobody. We never met at Atlantic.
Yeah,
like I said, because Mike Curran had called, and we never met with him. And so we never met with them, but that's where it was like, they interested. Benny was like, I want to do the deal with them, so we had to make the best of the situation at that point.
Yeah,
it was like,
all right.
And still, this is 2004.
Right.
So
That
it's
was the
still a
brass
major
ring.
label.
That was the golden goose. Like,
standard,
let's go. So it was like, all right, cool, we there. Because at that time they had Fat Joe, they had T.I., they had
T.I. was on fire.
that's before the Fabulous Music trade.
Yeah, because that was another thing
Juvenile.
too. Yeah, Trick, and that was the thing too. Like we didn't get to get into the doc, but again, it was just transition, man. You know, so 2004 when we signed, this is right when Warner underwent this huge corporate fucking buyout, right? You know what I mean? And so all the old guard that was at Def Jam, like Julie, Kaiser, Leor, all of them, they were at Def Jam, and so this corporate buyout shit happening, this fucking billionaire pissing contest. And so now they're over in the Warner system. So we were coming into the system at a time when, we're a group, you know, from the South. You know, we have this album called The Minstrel Show that they trying to figure out how the fuck we sell this. And at the same time, they're trying to figure out this new system because they were new to the Warner system. You know what I mean? And we just kind of landed right then and there. And, you know, man, that was just one of the things where at that time, we didn't understand how those changes on a macro level would affect us on a micro level. We just didn't get it, you know what I mean? And that was a, you know, kind of dovetailed into us doing our documentary. We just was like, yeah, this makes more sense to do it ourselves and do it, you know, put it out on YouTube and go direct to the fans, because what was happening in Hollywood now, it just looks like exactly like what was happening with labels 20 years ago when everything started consolidating and, you know, everything was just kind of breaking down. I'm like, yeah, dude.
We seen this.
We seen this movie before. Yeah.
So the business side of what was happening at Atlantic for you guys was good.
Yeah, the business was fine. I mean, listen, we had I had a conversation with Julie Greenwald. This was like a year or so ago, but you know, because we were gonna get her for the documentary, but as we kept shooting, we just saw like, okay, we don't really need her. We got the story, but you know, and I told her, I said, man, the thing that's so crazy about this doc, the thing I love, is one of the rare music documentaries where the major label actually is not the bad guy. You know,
that's a fact. I watched it. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I watched it. Yeah.
It's like, yo, like it wasn't. You know, they did right by us. You know,
it's out on YouTube. Make sure y'all go peep.
Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, out on YouTube right now. But nah.
The title.
Oh, Made a Watch
the Little Brother story out on YouTube right now.
Yeah, go pull it. Yeah. So nah, man. So yeah, they took a chance on us. They let us, you know, do it, and they let us do us. And I just remember, you know, kind of what we talked to before the break of just kind of the major label system and seeing kind of the disillusionment and the death of that dream. I think my moment where it was just became crystal clear. I remember sitting in the office one time with Julie, and shout out to Julie Greenwald, man. I got love for Julie. Like, she always shot straight. She didn't bullshit. She didn't waste our time. You know what I mean? Like, she was funny as hell. She just, Phonte, you gotta make content. It's content. You gotta make content. Like, she was just this fucking ball of energy that was just all over the fucking place. But nah, man, I remember sitting in her office one time. We were having a conversation, and I was just like, yeah, Julie. I said, so what's your next move? Like, what you think you gonna do after this? I said, so what you think? What's your next move? What you gonna do after this? Like, what you doing? And she was like, yeah, you know, my kids. She's like, my daughter's getting kind of older. You know, they kind of need me to be around a little more. And she said, you know, I'm looking at, you know, Fuse. And at the time, Fuse was the
network.
The network.
The TV network. Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, Fuse. I was like, oh, yeah, Fuse. We got to go over there a little later on and, you know, do an interview or whatever. She was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, me and Edgar, yeah, we're thinking about buying Fuse.
Nigga, we just sitting there like,
real nonchalant.
Nigga, what?
The same way we would talk about, yo, I think I'm a cop the 4s, or I'm a cop to do whatever. She's talking about buying a goddamn network, nigga.
God damn.
And I'm just like,
with a straight face.
With a straight face. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, yeah, I'm sitting here trying to explain, we're trying to explain our art and our existence to someone that is buying a network.
Casually.
Casual. It's just like
on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
like
The club
like
up on a Tuesday. Yeah, I'm like
Instagram. Might delete later.
right.
Might buy a network. I don't know. Felt cute.
Might delete later. That was exactly what it was. That was
crazy.
the kind of flex. That was the IG flex in old
To let you know that you've made some real wrong decisions. Where I go wrong?
Yeah, but it was just one of those things you just see. I was like, okay, yeah, this is, you know, we love the music, but this is a business. It is a corporation. It is, you know, we talk about, you know, when we dropped Minstrel Show and we went through the office and there's like no music playing. Like my idea of a record company, I'm thinking it's like, nigga, if it's a record company, music gonna be playing. If I walked into Krispy Kreme, it'd be donuts in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. I'm like, y'all ain't got no records playing. It's nothing. Yeah. And so I think for me and Pooh, that was really just that kind of realization of like, this is not what we thought it was gonna be. And it was never any, on my side, you know, it was never any bitterness or anything towards the major label system. It was just an education. It was just really having that and then seeing, okay, this is what it is. Like, I got it. This ain't got shit to do with music.
Nope. So about the money.
Which is wild.
You know what I mean? Right.
Which is wild.
So it's just like, and you know, but once you have that understanding, it's like, oh, okay, cool. So I have to figure out a system for myself where it can really be just about the music and getting it direct to my people. And once I kind of had that realization, it really changed my relationship with the art form because I found a place that could work for me. And that's something that I think a lot of young artists, you know, the biggest lesson, one of the biggest lessons we learn, you have to define success for yourself. You know what I mean? You have to define it because what's successful for this person, you know, for you, that, you know, one person's medicine could be your poison. You know what I mean?
Right. That's
so,
true.
you know what I mean? So it's like you had to kind of learn that, and that was what that time was like.
We talked about that off camera. We
Yeah,
were
yeah.
discussing how there's a general theme of how Drake's blueprint comes from you.
Yeah.
A lot of people will agree that you fathered a lot of what he does. Singing, the patterns, bars, et cetera, et cetera. But you haven't gone that far.
Yeah.
Was that intentional?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you know, it's easy to kind of sit back. You know, you never want to play, you know, Monday morning quarterback, right? And be like, oh, I could have did. Nah. You know what I mean? For me, I think going through the major label deal, I remember when Minstrel Show came out and, you know, the first week we did what, like 20, 18, some shit like that? 18,000 records. And this is in 2005. So 18,000 records at that time, that shit was like, you were a failure.
No, it's good now.
It's good now.
Yeah,
like now, nigga, if you sold 18,000 physical records, the niggas would throw you a parade out this bitch. But in 05, that was just
You had
failure.
people going gold.
you
and-
bricked.
Yeah, you bricked. You bricked, right? And so,
Wood.
yeah, you went wood. And it was just like, you know. Yeah.
You went linoleum.
You went wood.
Right.
You leaned over with it. You went wood.
Figure out.
Figure out.
Die for that one, nigga. You gonna
But
die.
that was it, man. I mean, like at that time, you know, we did it. And so I remember like we sold, you know, those records. And I just remember, you know, afterwards just thinking, it was just like, man, 18,000 records for this label is a failure. Nigga, if I sold 18,000 records for me,
Independently?
Yeah,
That's
independently.
a cash out. That's a cash out.
what? You know what I mean? And so that was just the part where I just understanding of just what success means to you. You have to really define that, because if you allow other people to project what they think is successful, you know, you're never going to be happy with where you are. You're never going to be happy with who you are. And, you know, for me, you know, when I look at, you know, artists that we were served as a bridge for, you know, like a Drake or a Kendrick or Cole, you know what I'm saying? All these artists that have gone on to just do amazing things, make amazing records, you know what I'm saying? I sit back and look at that and I'm just like, yo, that's amazing. That's great. I'm glad that these brothers are able to take what we did and continue it and take it to higher levels. I don't want to be none of these niggas. I don't want that life. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got 401k.
Listen, come on, man. I'm about to leave here. We gonna leave here. We gonna go, you know what I'm saying, to my little Cuban restaurant and have a little drink, have my salmon and you know, then kale salad. And nobody's gonna know who the fuck I am. And me and my brother can sit and have a meal and just fellowship and chop it up. You know what I mean?
I got you.
That's what's important to me, you know, and that's the point, again, just going back to the point of signing a deal before being contractually bound before you know who you are. I had to make peace with who I was. And a lot of times people, and Pooh talks about it in the doc too, of like, a lot of times people in the game, you know, they expect you to be very outgoing and extroverted and just something to party, I'm popping bottles and whatever. And that just was not me.
Do you
know what I mean?
want the credit though?
Well, I think the
Do
credit.
you want to be acknowledged?
You too, Pooh.
But
Like,
look
chime in on this as well.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was different. This is not something I ever thought I'd be doing. So when I got that opportunity at the major label, I'm like, shit, nigga, I want to stay here. Like, I don't know. We did the independent thing. I didn't like that. Like now, it wasn't us doing it ourselves.
It wasn't us. Yeah.
It wasn't even the work. It was, and it wasn't even, looking back now, it wasn't the actual being independent. It was just the people we were dealing with, right? Because they didn't honor the deal we signed. But I'm like, we got to the goal. Stay at the goal. Like, we could go somewhere else. It ain't got to be here. Like, cause at the time I was talking to Shaka Zulu's people from DTP.
DTP.
I got Ronnie Johnson, rest in peace. He had left Atlantic, was
went
over
to
at Capitol.
Capitol,
He was
yeah.
like, shit, I know I fuck with y'all. I love to have y'all here. So I knew there was other opportunities for us. And this was part of where we failed as brothers and
Just having that
group
conversation.
members was
Yeah.
having that conversation. But for me, I was just like, hey, bruh, it ain't work here. That don't mean it can't work here.
And for me, I was like, yeah, fuck all this shit.
Yeah, he's like-
because to me, it was like, I just saw it as, and me and Pooh, we talked about it, of course, but I just saw it as, okay, we could go to another label, but it's the same thing. We're still, we have Ronnie Johnson, rest in peace. We have him at Capitol. We have Shaka Zulu, at Def Jam, who was interested at the time. But it's like, that's one guy. If this guy leaves, if he gets fired, we're fucked. And we're back at square one,
Right.
having to now campaign inside the building for these people to push the product that they own forever. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm not, that's insanity.
So what was
You know
your
what I mean?
backup plan if that was to happen?
If
Well,
backup
indie.
plan, if in terms
You
of
just said.
well, for me, I think it was, I just saw from 2003 to like 2007, like in that 4-year period, whatever, we put out a record on every kind of label you could put a record out on. You know what I mean? We did The Listening, which was on ABB, which was a very small independent. And then I did, with my other group, The Foreign Exchange, we did the album Connected on BBE, which at the time, they were indie, but they were reputable indie. They were putting out like the Jay Dilla Welcome to Detroit. They were doing the Beat Generation series. They were very reputable, and and they did right by us business wise. And so then in 05, we did the Chitlin circuit on Koch.
Yeah, I remember that.
Back then, you know what I mean? And at the time, Koch was indie, but they had big boy capacity.
But not
You know what I
real.
mean?
Yeah.
They was running all
Yeah.
that was when like Jim Jones was like running all the Dipset shit
Yeah.
through there. So like they was moving records. And then we had The Listening, we had the Minstrel Show on Atlantic, which was a major. So I just look back over our career and I'm just like, dude, we put out a record on every kind of label you can put a record out on, and none of these motherfuckers have made our job any easier. We're still doing the same amount of work. If I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna do the work for ABB or BBE or Atlantic or whoever, nigga, I can just do that work for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the work is still the same. And that's what I say, to artists now when they talk about, what's the difference between, a major artist or independent artist. Nigga, every artist is an independent artist.
Right.
It's gonna be your moves. You gonna have to bust your own moves. It's gonna be the videos you shoot, your own team. You know what I mean? Like, the labels, they don't sign artists. They sign other labels, essentially. Like, you're not just a rapper or a producer or or whatever, singer. You have to be a one-man or one-woman production team.
They don't want
The difference is on the back end,
Yeah.
where the major label just has access to more resources.
Right.
Than obviously you would have on your own,
the front,
right.
or a smaller label would have. But the work is yours,
Right.
because the motherfuckers ain't working.
Which they don't understand. Which most artists don't
Yeah.
understand.
They ain't working
Yeah.
like you think they working.
Yeah, and that was it. Like that was, again, going back to just that disillusionment part, I thought, that signing to a major, it's like, okay, they have the answers.
Right.
And then when we got there and it was just like,
Nobody.
oh, y'all motherfuckers just guessing too. It's like, nigga, I can guess by myself. I don't need to be no goddamn 360 deal to guess.
Right.
The fuck? You know what I mean? like this makes no sense to me. And so, but that was kind of to your question. Yeah, that was what it was. I just, we did our record with my group, Foreign Exchange, Leave It All Behind. And we did that independently. And we ended up getting nominated for a Grammy in 2010. And, we didn't win, but I was just like, dude, our 3-man team, we ran this to the Grammys. Like, bruh, like
That's good, though.
I'm
Fuck
done.
that.
Like,
Yeah, man.
what we gotta talk about?
nominated.
That's a fact.
That's a win.
The thing
Yeah.
to talk about is
Nominated.
who should have got fired. Somebody should have got fired behind. You like these motherfuckers? Did they just?
right.
Somebody got the. See, what it looked like was from the outside looking in, not knowing any of the story, what it looked like is you guys signed to Atlantic. All of a sudden, the album breaks, the group breaks up. There's like all this internal beef you hearing about, and it just looked like so when you say the label wasn't the bad guy, but it just so happened to coincide with all these terrible things that were happening to like your favorite group on the outside, looking in, it's like, damn, they beefing with Knife, this got something to do with money.
Yeah.
The fucking album break, this got something to do with Knife and
the
them.
foundation wasn't right before we even got to Atlantic.
So let's go back. Let's go back a little bit to the college days and how you guys met Ninth and how he was instrumental in your atmosphere.
Man, this was...
I don't even remember how I met. Like, I can't remember how we met. We ran in the same circles.
Yeah.
Was it you that said that, or was it you that said you met him once and then you ain't meet him till months later?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay,
we met and he was at the time, we were moving in. I was playing football at the time. Right. And so the football players, we would always move in the dorm. We had to come early because we had camp. And so we were moving into the dorms and we had been there for a little bit. And so we came in and, you know, I just saw Ninth in the dorm and he had a Source magazine. And I was like, yo, man, let me see that. You know what I mean? And I always describe it, you know, at that time, you know, this is 98. So this is 98 and this is a black college in the South. So No Limit got shit on lock, nigga. Like it was nothing. Like niggas used to be driving around with the damn No Limit like pendant, you know, in the mirrors. Yes, the tank. Like it was like P was like he had niggas in the chokehold.
You was a No Limit soldier or you was weird.
Yeah. That was it. And so I come in and I see this guy with a Source magazine going up over a Most Def, Black on Both Sides. I'm like, oh, this nigga weird like me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool. And so that was how we started. But that was when Ninth and I first met, but we didn't meet. Well, I didn't realize he made beats until way later. Like probably like damn near a year later, he actually played me some of his first beats. And so we just started recording. And, you know, by this time, Pooh and I, we were hanging. And so we just kind of started just working together, just making stuff. Then that was the beginning. That was 98. We were all students at Central. And that was just, that was how it started.
And Ninth Wonder was making beats that was like the weird beats, right? Because of what because of what you were used to hearing in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was
beats we were used to. It was beats that we enjoyed because, you know, we listened to Wu-Tang and, you know,
Slum
and all that. So it was we understood what he was making. We just didn't know originally. Because like even when I first met, I didn't know he made beats. It was later we found, oh, you make beats? Like that was
we was just homeboys at first. It wasn't even about no music.
And they were fire. It was like you like once again, it's that same thing. It's like I hear these things on the radio or I buy the CDs or the tapes because tapes was still a thing. But when you see something like, nigga, you made that here
on a computer, right? That, you know, because that was another part of it where, you know, at that time, that's when everybody was MPC, you know, hardware, you know what I mean?
And it started shifting to FL Studio.
Yes,
right.
You know what I mean? And he really was, and, you know, and Ninth really was, you know, a pioneer in that aspect. You know, I remember him pulling up and playing me, just showing me beats. And I was like, so how are you doing this? And he pulled it up and, you know, the computer we recorded our first album on was like
a compact.
Yeah, like your iPhone is more powerful than that first like legit, you know what I mean? And so now, bro, that was kind of how we started. So for us, it wasn't weird. We didn't look at it as weird. We looked at it like, yeah, this is the shit. Yeah, this is, you know, this is us. Like, this is the stuff we grew up on. And, but it was at the time where the industry, sonic-wise, you know, this is, so this is like 98, 99. So this is like Swizz,
Beats by the Pound.
Hard Knock
Keyboard.
Organized Noise.
Well, that didn't come till late because Blueprint was like that was 01.
Blueprint? No, not Blueprint. I'm talking about Hard Knock Life.
Oh, Hard Knock Life. Yeah. Hard Knock Life. Yeah.
But you had Organized Noise. at the time. You had Outkast still bubbling.
Absolutely.
Master
Timberland
P,
was starting
obviously.
to make
Timberland.
moves.
What year was PD Pablo in North Carolina?
02.
Petey was like, yeah, that was like 02.
And
And
around the same time, y'all was bubbling, right?
yeah, but it was the thing with Petey was, and you know, Petey, like he was our delegate. You know, big respect to Petey, big shouts to him for laying that groundwork. Petey was, he was a little older than us. So like our OGs knew him, like the Butter Team, they were like a DJ crew in Durham. They knew him, but Pooh and I didn't really know him. And like we would do interviews and people be asking us, so what's it like working with Petey Pablo? And we like, we don't know
Just
him.
because we in North Carolina don't mean we work
Exactly.
with
I'm like, I'm like, listen, respect to him,
Y'all
but
never connected?
nah, never connected, man. And that was the thing, like we, you know, because the thing with the LB story was that, you know, a lot of the other artists that came, that rep NC up until that point, even if you go all the way back to the days of like, you know, Yag Fu Front, right?
Oh God.
You know what I'm saying?
Still looking for.
You know what I'm saying? Like 94, you know, they were from North Carolina, but they, you know, had to go to New York to make it. You know, J. Cole, you know what I'm saying? He broke out of New York.
Yeah.
Petey, you know, him working with Timberland, that came out of New York. LB, we made it from the crib.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we came out at a time where you didn't have to go. It's like, okay, if I can put this up on the net and it immediately goes everywhere, then shit.
Ain't gotta go nowhere.
Yeah.
A lot of New York made it out of Atlanta. A lot of New York made it
New
out
York
of
is
LA.
made it out of every place else but New York.
Yeah. New York made it out of everywhere else but New York.
All of our biggest stars over the last 10, 20,
50,
10
LA.
10 years had to go someplace
Waka
else.
Flocka, Atlanta. Like there's a lot of artists that went
Nicki.
south. Nicki.
Yeah.
So what was those sessions like with Knife? Like, and was he the only producer that you?
This
guys
is
were
the
working with
resident
in school?
producer.
Yeah, I'm a producer,
Nah,
so
absolutely,
I'm
man.
always into producing and artistic stuff. So.
Those early sessions, this shit was like it's like a social club. It'd be this many
'Cause
people.
y'all were, like,
It'd be
doing
this
it in the
many
dorm,
people.
right?
It'd be this. Nah,
Yeah.
we was in my man's apartment,
Cesar
Cesar Comanche. It'd be like this many people in the room. Like
And the mic is like in
like
the
right
middle.
in the middle. Like Tay and I we were right at his crib, or we were right in his car. So we were right together. We'll do that before we come in, but we'd be like, all right, everybody be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. All right, go nigga.
Right.
And then you rap. And so those times, I think one of the things that people didn't understand about Little Brother, Tay was the main producer in Little Brother. He was the guy, the ideas, concepts, damn near the structuring.
So it's kind of like
songs.
what not to cut you off, but D-Dot said, right? When D-Dot was
There's
working
one
with
thing
him,
about making the beat and another thing about producing.
producing.
Yeah.
A person could bring a beat to you and you'd be like, I know how to jazz this shit up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's not to say Knife can't produce. It's just
Right.
in Little Brother,
It was a different dynamic.
this was the
Yeah.
producer. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And so it was a thing of, for us, it was like we would do our raps. It was like, all right, Pooh, you rap here. Okay, nigga, I did my rap. I'm gonna go sit in the back and chill. And then they would work on building the song out. And then we just be in there. It'd be like I said, like a social gathering. We just be in there talking, and we just use people. Oh, you here? Yo, come say this.
Come
line.
do this part. We need everybody say ho. I need everybody ho on 3. Like it was, you know what I mean? It was that kind of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, every session. Like
So Knife was the only beat maker there at that time. There
on
was
the
no
first,
other beat makers.
Centric had to get up.
He had to get up. Yeah, Centric, he was another member of our crew. He also made beats on a computer, and Eccentric was raw. He did the get up on the listening. Eccentric was crazy. He ended up losing his beats in like a hard drive crash,
Some RZA shit.
and then he ended up going to law school. He became he's a
Wow.
lawyer now. Like,
Big time.
yeah.
Big time,
Nah,
man.
that's my brother, man. Big
Yeah.
ups to Eccentric. But yeah, at the time, yeah, it was Eccentric. Crisis
ended up coming a little later.
Yeah, a little later.
Because he was
was
still in
young.
high school.
Yeah, Crisis was in high school.
He was
a youngin'.
coming to the college radio station. Sean Don is actually who found him. He was coming to the radio station, and Sean Don was like, "Yo, this kid, high school, we be at the radio station. He raw, he got beats." And
He was making beats on a computer too.
yeah, and that's how he ended up coming into the fold.
I think this whole thing is what makes the Atlantic trip so crazy. Because again, album doesn't do well. Y'all having beef. a lot of people will say Phonte never went to where we thought he was gonna go. He never 3-stacked it out. You know, we never saw you do that.
Yeah.
And it all seemed to happen when you hit the majors.
Yeah, so it's easy to place blame and think it was because of that.
Of course.
Yeah. And that was a big reason why, you know, we really wanted, in making our documentary, you know, we really wanted to tell our story just in a beautiful and honest way. And just to let people see, it's like, listen, man, like, it's never, the fall of the group was never the fault of one person. It was never the fault of one label. You know, this is the music, but it's like, dude, we are people in our 20s trying to figure this shit out while at the same time trying to figure out how to negotiate a business. And, you know, this was something that, and I tell younger artists all the time, it's even worse now, you know, with the internet and how things can go viral. You know what I mean? Your music can travel further and it can go faster than you have the ability to develop as a human being. You know what I'm saying? When people talk about artist development is human development.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter how great you are as an artist. If you got an ankle bracelet on, that's as far as we going, cuz. You feel me? Like, it don't matter. You have a #1 record, whatever.
You're
it's
all right,
like,
Chef. You're all right, Chef.
hey, you all right?
Nah, yeah, I just got off papers. So
Salute, bro. Yeah, but so you know, right? You know,
yeah,
it's like
so far you can go.
Yeah, so
You got an ankle bracelet on the chat was like,
so and that's the part where, you know, we were, you know, we signed. I think the big part of Little Brother's story is that we were friends. We were just learning each other as friends and as people, and then we automatically were put into a position where we had to become business partners. And dude, those are two completely different things.
And we were all growing into men.
Yeah, yeah. This wasn't us doing this shit in our 40s now, you know what I mean?
So we growing into men. We're trying to learn how to be friends, and now we have to learn how to be business partners. But that shit was...
How was it going
oh,
on first tour?
say it again?
I said that shit was bound to be disastrous.
The only thing that made sense was the music.
Too many egos.
it couldn't.
It wasn't even ego. It was just we ain't know shit, and we learning this on the fly. Like there's no mentor, there's no big homie, there's no
And everybody
OG.
learns differently.
Everybody moves differently, and so you got all this happening. And it's like it's just this fucking goddamn cocktail of disaster.
Yeah, and you don't have those conversations like we talk to, you know, particularly with groups, you know, it makes it, I think it's hard for a lot of groups to stay together because you don't understand that, like how you were saying earlier about, you know, people say, I'm gonna use this rap shit or whatever. I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. I just think you have to have those conversations about it. So say if we're a group and I know Pooh is, okay, I rap, but like I really want to chef. Like that's really my passion. I want to cook, nigga. That's what I'm on. You can have that conversation and say, okay, look, well, check it out, bro. We can use LB as the platform for you to do your cooking thing. If you're into fashion, if you want to get into movies, we can use this as a platform to get into whatever it is you want to do.
Those
we
are
just
all
all have to have that
stepping stones.
understanding. Exactly.
But you got to have those conversations,
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
which we didn't.
Yeah, because we didn't even know how to, it's just, oh shit, like people like this, okay, fuck it, let's go. Like it was,
Yeah, we got to do more.
yeah, that was it.
So y'all got y'all deal and y'all signed to that independent label and y'all go on y'all first tour. What was that like?
Chaos.
The first tour.
Hold on, which first tour we talking about?
Yeah, the first, I guess
2-week tour
first
or
2-week.
the
Hyro tour?
The Hyro tour.
The Hyro tour where
The Hyro tour.
y'all had to share rooms and all that.
Man, that shit was... It was a masterclass in touring, but it was complete fucking chaos.
Shout out to Hyro, man. Like those were our big brothers. Like they really taught us.
They
the
gave
game.
us the blueprint to how we toured. They taught us about merch. They taught us about not taking a lot of days off with how much that cost you. They taught us about professionalism on stage. So we learned a hell of a lot from them.
these are the kind of bonding moments you figure would bring a group closer together and kind of you learn each other because you're in the trenches with each other and you.
No.
This is what you.
If you really want to know who somebody is,
Live with them.
or tour with them.
You can't hide.
That's the saying.
You can't hide.
So I think what it did for us was it allowed us to be sitting here with you today.
Okay.
That's what that did for us. That bond, even though we had our shit and we separated, that bond allowed us to eventually come back together and be here today.
Yeah, because it's like war. It's like you like using the foxhole with somebody, and like those are memories that you have that no one else is gonna understand. I mean, that you talk about that first tour. I mean, dude, we were, and again, we talk about it in the doc, but like, I mean, it was us. It was Pimpin' Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Lee.
This guy Pimpin' Lee, who's a real pimp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like real life. You know what I mean? Not for play with it. You know what I mean? Shouts to Pimpin' Lee. Late Night Billy was this white dude that was like crazy, just wild as shit. He would sell merch. You know what I mean? And Encore, who was an artist on Hyro at the time. Z-Man, who was another artist. And then ID, who was the guy that signed us to ABB.
But now he was working.
He left ABB and went to Hyro. Yeah. So we're just all on this fucking RV driving through the date was the whole tour was, it was like 40 cities in 50 days. You know what I mean?
It was 45 cities in 50 days.
Yeah, 45. My bad.
45.
Let's put it all on it. 45 cities in 50 days. And Hyro.
These are venues.
These are venues. This is real life.
Differences.
Real life.
This ain't virtual. This ain't a Zoom.
And it was 10 day off, then like 30 or 32 straight, then like day off. That's where our tour ended because our RV broke down.
God.
We didn't even finish the tour.
Our shit broke down.
Yeah, we broke down on the way to Chico.
How long was the tour?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
You cover all that territory.
Yeah, man. But that was, man, again, that was Hyro, man. They really were the blueprint in a lot of ways because they showed us, like, dog, I remember Domino, who was like the kind of guy that ran thing. I remember Dom getting on the bus with a briefcase, like full of money, like merch money, like, 6 figures in merch, just in merch. You know what I mean? And they were just such a machine. And I remember talking to him and I was like, man, well, why don't you take no days off? Like, y'all got all these days. And he was like, yo, man, like, if you taking a day off, you spending money. You losing money. He's like, because every time you take a day off, niggas still got to eat. They still got to sleep somewhere. You still got to, you still have those expenses. You still got to pay the bus driver.
Right.
And so it really gave us an idea of just the economics of like, okay, this is what this takes to make this go. And Hyro at the time, they didn't have a record on the radio. They didn't have a record, that was going up, whatever.
They didn't have a record deal.
Did not have a record deal, but they was eating. And I think that was something that when I look back on it now, 20 years after the fact, I think it was really just something that really was a blueprint for us. And we didn't understand exactly what we were learning, but now it was like, yeah, that was the spark of just seeing how you can move.
They couldn't navigate you fellas through the issues that were coming.
It wasn't that type of relationship.
I see.
It was on their own time.
Just a working relationship.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And it was love.
It's all love.
Yeah,
even to this day, it's all love whenever we see them. But it wasn't. We didn't have that type of relationship.
A mentor-mentee.
Yeah,
we didn't.
And because and even too, it's like, again, it was only so much they can do because they were coming off of a major label. Well, they had been off a major label, but they had, 93 Till Infinity, which was like a huge hit record, classic record. Yeah. So they kind of had that anchor that they could, work off of. And we were just coming into the game just with nothing. So it was different.
How come Ninth wasn't a part of that tour? Or was he a part of that tour? And
man, they gotta watch the documentary, get all that. they gotta tune in. We can't give them all the sauce, man.
We talked about it in the doc, but we talked about it in the doc, but that was a decision that we made, but it's in the documentary. They can go into it, talk about it.
Are things cool now?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I speak for me, but yeah, everything I had to say in the doc regarding all of us, I said I let it go. I've understood that, the main thing we wanted to make sure that people got out of this doc was that it was never the fault of one person. Like, we all played our
said
fault.
that before.
You know what I mean? It was, and we really wanted to make something that was beautiful and honest, and above all else, we wanted to make a film that honors the music. You know what I mean? You don't want to make something, the last thing you want to do is make something that has people walking out like, damn, man, that's fucked up. Like, I don't even want to listen to this shit no more. Like, nah, like, we actually own the rights to that. Nigga, I want you to listen to it a lot. A lot. You know what I mean? Like, so nah, man, I don't have any, like, anger or ill will or none of that. I'm just thankful that we were able to make the music that we wanted to make and make the impact that we did, and everybody's flourishing, doing the things they love to do.
What was your accountability in this? Like, now that you're on the removed from it and you can look at it. I'm gonna swing right over to you with the same question.
You start off with it.
Yeah, my accountability. I probably should have spoke up more and really communicated, how I was feeling about things or what I wanted, and I didn't do that. I definitely didn't do that. And then when I had the opportunity to do that in certain circumstances, I went too far.
What does that mean? Hands and feet type of thing?
No, it never got to that point. It's nothing physical. It's just when you have, or when I understood in certain situations where I had the upper hand, or I was in a position of power, so to speak, I took advantage of that.
You abused it?
Definitely. Definitely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was, for me, that was coming from, because even in Little Brother, I'm the little brother. Like, I was the youngest. And I was the least experienced as well. So I had a lot of catching up to do. So when I got to wield the power stick, pause.
Yes. You learn fast.
Yeah. So when I got that opportunity, I took full advantage of it. And, I wouldn't do that today. You know what I mean? I'm more tactful, more, mature.
You
more
said something sooner instead of letting it build up.
It wouldn't have never got to that point. Okay. It would never get to that point today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it would get to back then.
Yeah, I think with piggybacking on what Pooh was saying, I think it was, for me, it was just not having conversations. It was very much just doing, just thinking, focusing solely on the product, but not really focusing on the people. You know what I mean? And in any group dynamic, or in any business or any organization, you're only as good as your people. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I very much had tunnel vision, and all I focused on was the product. I was just like, yo, we gotta be nice. Like, we coming out of the South. Like, niggas think this, they think we don't know. Like, fuck that. We gonna wrap all these niggas on the table. We don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It was just that. So I was just focusing on the product, but I didn't really take time to really get to know Pooh as a person. Right. You know what I mean? And understanding, like, okay, well, he's really shy. Like, he's a person that, he's...
He only come alive when the mic come on.
Yeah, like, for real.
When the lights come on.
Yeah, like, he'll just be here, and then he come on, and he just turns it on. And I think that was definitely a mistake on my part. Just not looking back now, just not taking the time to really get to know the people that I was doing business with. The people, not their talent, but just the people.
So everything was like poor communication.
Absolutely. Shit. Now, I mean, it was poor communication would be
No
great.
communication.
None. Like, it was none at all. You know what I mean?
So just sticking your head in the sand, ignoring the issue, and moving forward.
100%. Just focusing, just like, you know what? Fuck all that. I know we just had this fight before a show, but fuck it. Let's just do this joint. Because I know we can do this. I know we can get this right.
Right.
The personal stuff, okay, I don't know how to navigate that, but I know how to make a record. We'll be fine.
Niggas professional enough to get the work done.
Yeah, and it's like, after a while, you can do that, but so many times, it's just like, look, dude.
Before you're putting a bullet wound,
you're putting a Band-Aid over 100%. And that
But
was
did
what it
y'all
was.
know Knife was a beast?
Man, I think for me, when I saw it, it was he had came to my room, wasn't my crib. This was my dorm room. He came to my dorm room and he had played some beats. And this was previously, he would just come through and he would always have like new releases. So I remember when like Common Like Water for Chocolate album, the bootleg dropped.
Dope album.
And he had that. That's still my favorite Common album. But he came through with that, and he had like Black Star early. So he would just come through my room with just new music. And so one day he came through, he's like, yo man, I want to play you something. And it was some of his beats. I didn't know they were his beats. I thought it was a new, okay, is this new Black Star? Is this new high tech? But what is this? He was like, this me. I was like, nigga, what? And you know, so my thing was always in hearing him, and you know, when we were talking in the early days of LB, my thing was always like, listen, man, I'm not trying to be the best in North Carolina. We're not competing against local artists. We're, you know, I remember we had copies like Slum Village and, you know, Like Water for Chocolate in the studio. I'm like, bro, we're competing against this. Like, this is the bar. Because the people who are going to the store, we're essentially asking them to make a choice with their dollars. You know what I'm saying? And I always remember like reading old books about Motown and stuff, and how Berry Gordy would have focus groups, and he would play a record and he would ask them, yo, if you had a choice between buying a loaf of bread or buying this record, what would you buy? And if motherfuckers was like, I'm gonna buy a loaf of bread, then the record didn't come out. And you know, now, I mean, you know, people look at that as a hard, you know, wait, but it was really him just understanding that the audience, listen, they dealing with real life shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they're really having to make these choices of, okay, I really like this Supreme single, but nigga, I like dinner too. So, you know what I mean? If this Supreme joint ain't ringing off, then, you know what I mean? And so that was kind of the thing. And so when I saw with the music we were making and with the beats Knife was making, your original question, I just thought that it was on par with anybody else that was making records at that time. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, we not competing with just the local. We banging against the big boys because we have that capacity.
How did y'all feel about like when he got the call to go work with Hov?
I was happy for him.
Yeah.
Like, it's Jay-Z, my nigga. Like,
so I'm asking that question. Of course, I would expect y'all to be happy for him because he basically come from y'all tree. Right?
Yeah.
But y'all had the original, you know, source of Ninth Wonder's music and production.
This is the thing. I think the best way I can put it, I think a lot of people want to believe that our issues or whatever with him stemmed from something music or business.
No, I know what it stemmed from. I'm just not
No.
Let it get it out.
But for us, it was just once you come to understand who people are, so whether that's me and him or me and you or whoever, then you say, okay, I either decide I want to continue working or being friends with this person or I don't. And that has nothing to do. We made great music together. Shit.
Absolutely.
Please go play it. The Listening, the Mystery Show. Go play that shit. You know what I'm saying? Make great music. Yeah. But as we were moving forward, we just understood like, okay, we not the same. And it's nothing you can do about that. It's like you are who you are. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And that's mostly what it came down to. Like it wasn't a nigga make great beats. So it wasn't nigga beats trash. I'd never say that.
Right.
I'd be a fool to say that. But as person to person, it just wasn't working. And so
I respect that.
Yeah. At that time, but nah, I mean that when we heard he got placed, I was like, holy shit. You know, it was just like, man, you know, it was amazing. Yeah. You know,
I still remember going to this when we was on the tour, came to New York, and we got to go to Baseline, and we sitting in there. Jay had that shit on 100, and he's sitting in the back of the room looking at us, and I'm looking at him like, legit. You know what I'm saying? So that was
a great moment.
Great moment. Great moment.
We always want to see unity. We hate it when no one wins when the family feuds. We're real big on that. Even if the best thing we can do for each other is get along without malice.
100%.
like that's acceptable for me. As long as we not beefing, we ain't gotta be like bosom buddies. But as long as we not beefing, I don't want to be fighting with nobody.
Nah, man. I mean, again, I mean, you know, we speak about it in the documentary, but you know,
All right, definitely go watch the documentary.
Yeah,
I watched it. Y'all gotta watch it.
The answers are in the documentary.
Yeah, man. Nah, I mean, listen, man. At the end of the day, man, you know, I just look at it like this was, in particular, like with Knife, it's like, man, this was a guy I met over a Source magazine, and 3 years later, we was in a Source magazine.
Right.
That's crazy.
Y'all had a
That's
yeah,
crazy.
definitely. No, but we gotta clap it up for this. They got 4 mics too.
Yeah, that was our first one. Yeah, you know what I mean? Thank you.
Yeah, they got 4 pauses.
Yeah, so no, man, it's never. It's never no beef. It's never any of that. It's always just a love and appreciation for just being, you know, survivors, and for just being able to sit here 20 years later and tell our story, and you know, to still have an audience that is receptive and like get it. That's the beauty in it, man.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, so 20 years later, who is little brother now?
Phonte Coleman and Thomas Jones.
I don't mean the group. I mean,
okay.
Who are you as people? Who?
Oh, man.
Shit. People who like to be in the house.
Introverts.
Of course, always been that.
He don't like people. He home. He in the crib.
Man, I think, because people always ask us like, yo, when we get a new album, I know that new album coming, I know. And of course, throughout our careers, we was known album, tour. But we've evolved into so much more at this point. So, you know, we work on other people's albums together. We did the movie. We did the block party.
Yeah, block party made in Durham.
We
cooked together.
We cooked together. You know what I mean? Like, so Little Brother is something much more than just make an album, go tour.
Yeah,
But we scouting new talent.
Not necessarily scouting new talent, like, you know, because we in different fields. So like he worked mostly with singers, I work with rappers. So my artist Salute, when I was working, you know, doing his album, I got to a point we had been working on it so long, I was in the weeds trying to sequence it. Talking to him about it, he heard my frustration. He was like, "Yo, man, let me put my ears on it." And they sent back the sequence. The sequence you hear today is the sequence that man did.
Wow.
Like,
That's what's up.
you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we help each other in that way. Like, you know, we whatever each other need.
Feed off each other energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we have a synergy. You know what I'm saying? So it carries over into other things and not just us in the studio working on Little Brother records. And that's who we are. And we brothers, man. Like, you know, shit. Half the time we get on the phone, we ain't talking no business.
Yeah, right.
We talking
life shit.
Life shit.
What have you done? What haven't you done that you still want to do?
Me?
Either one.
Win Master Chef.
Chef
For real, though,
Ramsay.
for real.
We coming for you, Chef Ramsay.
Yeah, I got to get up there with Ramsey, Aaron Sanchez, and Joe. And I think for me, other than that, it's probably, you know, I'm about to start. Nah, I ain't gonna talk about that. I'll talk about that later. I got a couple things that I want to do that's not necessarily
Music based.
me putting out an album or something like that. You know, when I put out music now, it's just me. I'm just having fun. I'm just experimenting with things, doing stuff that I don't care what it does. Number-wise, I'm doing stuff for me.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, you know, the cooking thing, the working with artists still, you know, helping them, and then the other thing I'm end up doing.
Yeah. That other thing.
We'll try to hear about it later.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's just still enjoying just working in TV. I really enjoy that. Like, I've written songs for Sesame Street. That was like a crazy, you go Sesame Street. Yeah, I was a rapping banana on Sesame Street.
Pause.
Yeah. No. The pause and pause. Nah, yeah, I was a rapping banana.
Tell me how you get to Sesame Street.
Yeah, I did that. You know, I've written songs for Sesame. I worked on Sherman Showcase, which was a show that was on AMC, and Drop It Low for Jesus. Like, that shit will not die. Like, the people still send that to me. That was a song that I co-wrote. Nah, man, I just enjoy. I enjoy working in television, and more so than that, I just enjoy just giving artists a chance. And I think a lot of times people, I remember Issa Rae, she said something that really stuck out to me. She said, you know, a lot of times artists, their first idea is to reach up when instead they should reach across. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a video, if you an artist and you want a video, you might be thinking, oh, I need this person, I need this big name. But it's like, yo, it's probably the homie right next to you with the camera that's nice with it. You know, give
Shout
him
out KK47.
Yo, shout out to KK, you know what I mean?
KK47,
It's like, you know, like having those people in your team. It's like, you know, if you working with producers and it's like, oh, I want to work with Pharrell, you know, which is great. I mean, Pharrell is amazing, but there's probably a Pharrell in your camp that you can actually build with and work with together. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yep.
So, you know what I mean? So that was something that that I enjoy, just that community building aspect of just really connecting the pieces and just putting people on, giving brothers opportunity. And at this stage of my career, I think I get more fulfillment out of that than really doing things for myself. Just being able to kind of pass that wisdom on, and, you know, just to, it's like, listen, man, y'all gonna make mistakes. Nigga, make some new mistakes. Don't make the same shit we did. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, make some new, fuck up in a new way. You know what I mean?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Because I'm thinking about how my mindset was at the time when you guys, Little Brothers, Slum Village, Dilated Peoples, and a few other groups were out, and Kanye came in.
Yeah.
Right, with his production, right? So you already had Pete Rock, we already had Ninth Wonder, DJ Premier, and a slew of other producers who were soul sample based on the production. Did Kanye West coming in the game influence, like, you guys' production, your artistic value, you getting a deal in any way? Because now it's like all the labels were running to him for production.
Yeah, nah, it wasn't him influencing
Y'all were in your
us.
own space.
Yeah, we
Other way
influenced
around.
him.
Other way
It was the other way around.
Yeah, I met Kanye before through the wire. This coming off the Blueprint and all that. It was at a conference in Durham. Shit, it was me, Kanye, Consequence, Young Gav.
That was the I remember that morning. That was the day that, like, something that happened. This was some New York shit. It was like some guy had, like, killed. Remember, it was like that fucking serial killer or something.
The nigga on the train.
Yeah.
Bernard Getz?
Yeah.
Nah, no, not that early. No,
He like, I know
I can't remember. He killed somebody.
He was like a ballet dancer or something. It was crazy.
And he went and killed somebody. But all I remember in the newspaper, his picture was him with like these yellow pants
doing
on.
the split.
And he was doing a split
on the train.
And that was the picture that they used. And Consequence went on that shit for like an hour.
That.
Yo, you see this shit, son? Look at this nigga, son. I wake up to this nigga on Sunday morning. How you get murked by Maxwell, son? Like, it was just him. It was just Consequence going for like an hour. We was dying laughing.
Holding the paper like this.
That's crazy, yo.
But we was at the conference, and that's when I met Kanye. And like, he knew who we were and all that. Like, that's when we ended up recording I See Now.
Yeah.
That weekend, I had him up in the strip club going crazy. Shout out to Brothers 3. You know what I'm saying? Brothers 3.
Yeah.
They back too. They back.
Are you serious?
I think it's a different name, but they back.
Okay, all right. That's another conversation.
All right now, bro.
All right. Oh yeah, no, I know. My day is over, but yeah.
No, this is old us. You know what I'm saying? This is old us. But nah, like we connected at that time, and you know, we did the studio, and then every time he would come in town or whatever, he would call. We ended up doing shows together.
Yeah.
And it was just one of them things where, you know, a lot of people was like, oh, I mean, Kanye even had to quote himself, like, I seen a dude with my style before y'all know who I was, and I had to beat him to the punch.
Yeah, he said that. I mean, that was because he saw my verse that I got for the yo-yo, my quota that I got in the source,
yeah.
and was like, oh, this guy gonna get to my style to me before I do it. You know what I mean? And you know, for me, it was just, again, back to your original your question about just kind of where I was at the time. I was just tunnel vision. Like, I was not looking at no other MCs, no other producer. I just got to do me. We got to keep this LB thing going. So I was never even looking at a Kanye as a competition or looking at, I wasn't even paying attention to it. So when I heard him say it, I was like, damn, like, for real?
He's looking at you like the ball.
Exactly. He looking at me. I'm like,
catch up to him.
yeah, I'm like,
you on
dude,
Rockefeller.
you're on Rockefeller. Nigga, we're on ABB. It's like, you got a Rockefeller chain. It's like, you're balling at Madison Square Garden, nigga. We at the Y, dog. Like, you know what I mean? We just like, nigga, this is, we are no threat to you at all.
Nobody who looked at your talent felt like that. No one who looked at what you were able to do as far as production was concerned, as far as rapping was concerned, as far as singing was concerned, nobody looked at you like a little brother.
Yeah.
Especially in that era. You influenced a lot of motherfuckers who directly took your shit. Kanye can't really sing. You can really sing.
right.
You dig what I mean? And those soul
And
samples,
produce.
everybody knows that your talent in a different system, little brother in a different, Phonte by himself, Pooh by himself, in a different system, it becomes a different animal.
Yeah.
Imagine Kobe Bryant if he played for the Spurs with one coach, one team, and those supporting cast around him, and nothing switches around.
Yeah.
Those 5 rings become possible, maybe more. You dig what I mean? With a
Yeah,
solid
with support.
system.
Yeah.
But if you're on Rockefeller, it lands different. If you guys go to Def Jam and end up on Jive with your man who
Chris
already
Light.
with
Chris
Chris,
Light, yeah, who gets it.
who's a rest in peace, who was a guru, you land with him, the thing becomes different.
Yeah.
Man, we landed right where we supposed to.
Right.
Nah, legit.
Exactly.
Say less.
Exactly.
Little brother, people, little brother.
I got that documentary, man.
Yeah, made a little watch.
More hand claps, goddamn.
All right. Thank y'all, man.
Bust down rolling for the hell of it. It's my time to shine, spotlights is my element. Fuck a plain Jane, don't insult my intelligence. I don't plan on selling it, so I don't see the relevance. You niggas having pawn shop nightmares. I'm light years ahead of niggas, even on a light year. Dom Perignon stain the laces of my night ears. Born poor, but I'ma die rich, nigga, life's fair.